Oh, as we should have expected. Okay.
Not my fault. You're not smart enough to check the settings.
Yes, I'm not smart enough to correct for all the problems with all the studio members. We are now live again.
Well, not necessarily again.
All
just
right.
for the first time.
We got.
Okay, now let's see if anyone else is awake. Apparently, this was a sweet spot though that I immediately picked up 4 or 5 people. So I don't know. Maybe Okar will pop on too, like randomly, right?
Well, this is normally a terrible time for me, but as of today, I'll be finished with second year of film school. So I'm halfway through, ladies and gentlemen, fucks.
Oh my god.
Halfway through film school. I'm still not getting the notification.
I am seeing it, but it's oh my god. Okay, I'm starting to see people now.
So maybe it's just me.
Try refreshing because yeah, it's the stream is all kinds of fucked. So
Yeah, I got it. I got it in my subs. I got it on.
Yeah, and I'm seeing it on my phone too. So we are live. So okay, we get to recount. What was the first 10 minutes? Was I called everyone because I'm bored as hell, and then the stream broke, and then we found out it was it was various purple horses' faults, and we fixed it now.
Hey,
Yeah.
fuck you. I was sleeping.
And in other words, Vermont has been celebrating the completion of his first 3D animated film for his animation final.
Woo!
Top notch.
So
now halfway through film school.
all right, so it's like literally the halfway point is crossed. You're over the Rubicon.
Yeah. I mean, technically, I only have 1 year left because it's a 3-year degree to get my bachelor's. But unfortunately, America doesn't believe in 3-year bachelor's degrees. So if I want to go work in the States, I need to go get an honors. I need to do a 4-year.
The systems are like, there's no like real crossover. It's just like with the UK, how they have the college, which is sort of equivalent to our GEs if you go to a 4-year university, but it's like, I like that in the system better because honestly, I always thought the whole like GEs and college thing was bullshit anyway. Which is really sad, but yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm dying. So we've had a really good week.
We have had a really good week.
Like, what the fuck has been this week? I didn't even know that you guys were doing the Open Up Your Eyes video. So that was really, really weird to wake up like, oh, shit, does anyone at the studio sleep?
Yeah, I'm like honestly befuddled by how successful that has been. Like, holy shit. I wish we had Kelly on too, because he's like, oh my goodness. You know.
Like, Fallout Day would do well because we've kind of been building that up for a very long time. Because
yeah.
It's our Fallout Day special. It's just the thing that we do.
It's our 4th year.
But Open Up Your Eyes did really, really well. I suppose in the future we're going to have to do more movie songs.
Yeah, I know. We're going to have to convert more of the movie songs to Fallout Equestria now, which is within the realm of possibility. We'll see what happens.
It's within the realm of possibility. Yeah. I still think Time to Be Awesome is a pretty good EAST Corp origin story song.
Yeah, I'm okay with that one. It's I hate the like poppy shit, the Saya shit. It's like, you know, at least Time to Be Awesome is a fun song.
I really liked Time to Be Awesome. It was my favorite song for a while. Right now it's kind of tied between that and One Small Thing, that with the Sea Ponies.
Oh yeah, that was good too. Yeah.
That really jazzy. It had a very Disney vibe to it.
You know what I want? I want someone to cut that video, but as the whole song is playing, the actual video is just Twilight chipping away, trying to get through to the pearl. How great would that be? It's just like, they're doing their whole thing, and she's just like, you know, worming her way, trying to steal their sacred object.
That would actually be genuinely funny.
That was awesome.
Oh, man.
I think, honestly, the only reason it did so well is because since I saw the movie, like October 1st or whatever, I've been singing the freaking Open Up Your Eyes like 3 times a day for 2 months. So I think it came off pretty natural.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite songs on the soundtrack.
Yeah. That's what they do best. I mean, is the big, like, you know, you go all the way back to At the Gala or freaking I almost said This Will Be the Day. The Stay aria.
The Stay aria. Yeah, no, their big villain songs have usually been their better work. Although, I mean, yeah, I usually find pretty much all of the Pinkie Pie songs usually blow me away.
Blow me away, only. Sorry.
But yeah, they do Big and Bob quite well on the show.
Yeah, you have to understand that when I'm home just by myself, I'm like Bumblebee from the first Transformers movie. It's like as soon as there's a song reference, I run through like two bars of music. Also, chat, you're welcome to ask questions whenever. We're just fucking around.
We are just fucking around. Although, you know, I would like to point out, so I haven't been in the podcast since a while back. It was Tempest Best Pony, yeah. So no, it was our anniversary podcast. So I fucking missed the Twin Terrors podcast.
Oh no, you did, yeah.
Where we talked about that shit. So
we didn't talk too much, to be honest.
I'm going to talk about my shit.
Do it.
I'm going to talk about my very weird experimental fucking what the fuck was Quiet Black. Because that was fucking... That was a really, really weird mishmash. I was surprised that it got any good response at all. Because I kind of actually, this is kind of interesting because I was talking to the patrons in the chat yesterday about some of the differences between Terminal Secrets and Confessions, and I've also started to notice it kind of fits with our writing styles, or there's some sort of consistency in the fact that Confessions tends to be a lot more focused on the story it's telling. It's usually quite consistent, and it doesn't really show its hand very often. Whereas Terminal Secrets, and you see this in Quiet Black as well, is absurdly experimental. It's usually my episodes or episodes that are strongly Vermont-led tend to be what the fuckery, tend to be they tend to be very, very different to other episodes of Terminal Secrets. Like, let's switch genres halfway through the episode. Let's try these character combinations. Let's see how long we can extend this arc for. Let's see if I can hold a set. If we can do a 15-minute monologue. Sort of interesting to try and do those experiments. I think that I've been trying to pinpoint the differences between the two series writing styles down for a while. So that's been that's the conclusion I came to.
Interesting. You've definitely analyzed them a lot more than I have.
Well, it started me on this because when we released Twin Terrors, there was the one that at the beginning of Twin Terrors it just says, written by Skybolt and James Vermont. So there were one or two people who got confused as to who wrote which story, which I was surprised at because, I mean, we each narrate one story.
Yeah. And I also put the names in the respective order. Skybolt, because my story went first. And the only reason it came first is because mine was like 1 minute shorter. So I'm like, if I bundle that with the opening music, then it's like 25 and 25 minutes. It's completely at random, exactly. You guys.
But then the Wendy in the Patreon chat was saying, no, it's very obvious whose one it is. It's very easy to tell Vermont and Skybolt's writing styles apart. I was sitting there like, wait, really? It is? I don't know what my writing style sounds like. Tell me. And she suddenly got very, very quiet. Well, it's more like a thing you know rather than me being able to describe it.
She's covering. She's gonna insult you.
Fucking eventually, the weird thing was that the patrons eventually said, what was it? No, Skybolt writes like Skybolt's like Lovecraft, Vermont's like Poe. And then that confused me even more, especially considering that Skybolt has done parodies of both Lovecraft and Poe on this channel.
Yeah.
With the Duchess Horror being Lovecraft and with Come to Me being the Raven.
Yeah.
So I thought that was... It's really funny, the little things that the patrons get up to in the Patreon chat.
Yeah, I appreciated the Lovecraft comparison because it's definitely major inspiration of, you know, the sci-fi. You know, I love that kind of genre of sci-fi. But to be honest, I really haven't listened or read through much of Lovecraft's stuff yet. It's just like a handful of like some of his hits. But it's like Michael Crichton. I've read almost his whole bibliography, so I imagine most people, you know, I'd probably come off like him. I'm assuming. Oh
yeah, we know that you have a little bit of a fanboy thing for Michael Crichton.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah, if he died too young, could have given us 20 more years of books. Sad days.
Right. Back when Westworld was coming out.
Man, could you imagine if he was alive as a reference for the whole series? Damn it.
Right. Fucking.
I mean, like, you know, the Jonathan Nolan and his wife, they do a great job, but it's like, you know, you can't go wrong with the source.
Exactly. Like if they'd had Michael Crichton on board as well, it's kind of fucking.
He might have cleaned up the Star Wars Jurassic World stuff too.
Well, it's kind of interesting to see how much of an influence he's had on pop culture. I mean, if you just go into Jurassic Park and Westworld, you know, lately two of the biggest IPs out there. Fucking...
yeah, no, I mean, Jurassic World, as soon as it came out, it instantly became, like, the 5th biggest movie ever. And for various reasons, of course, it was playing off of the unending success of Chris Pratt. I mean, my God, does that guy... Like, is he ever gonna stop? Because he's only, like, every movie's just been getting more successful.
Well, it's fucking, I love... So I was in animation yesterday with some of my friends who were busy doing their animation finals. And we stopped for, like, an hour just to argue, just to reenact our own version of the Battle of the Hollywood Chris's.
Oh yeah. The what was it? The Chris Nolan, Chris Pratt, Hemsworth.
Well, Nolan kind of just gets ignored because it's the actor Chris's that they all seem to be arguing about. You know, what is it? It's Pratt, Pine, Hemsworth, and
Christian Bale, or is that cheating?
No, it's not Bale. Pratt, Pine, Hemsworth.
Chris Evans. Chris Evans, Captain America.
That was it.
Yeah.
I was expecting Needle to chime in. You're a girl. You know all the Chris's.
What?
Oh, she knows them all.
You mean Captain America, Thor, and Star-Lord?
Wonder Boyfriend. And Star-Lord, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's
true. It's like all Marvel characters. It's like a Marvel foursome sandwich.
But, well, except for Pine. Pine was in Wonder Woman.
It's still Marvel. No, wait, that's DC.
Marvel might as well buy it. They might actually make good movies then.
Needle? What's your ranking list for the Chris's?
What are we going off of?
Do you tell us? What is your rating? Are you going off of shoulders? Are you going off of abs?
No.
Jawline?
Are you going off of which one's the most attractive? Like, which one would you like? Because if it's like the most attractive, then it's obviously Hemsworth without the hair. But if you go for ones you'd rather hang out with, it's obviously Pratt.
You know what? I'd go for Pratt either way. I dig the nerdy cute.
True.
Though Thor looks like he'd be really good at hugging.
Did you see Chris Pratt in
God.
Zero Dark 30? He got pretty freaking buff.
I haven't seen Zero Dark 30, but I would fucking... I'd hug hairless Hemsworth.
I'd hug him either way. He looks like a good hugger.
That's a very weird... That's a very weird benchmark. Can they hug nice? Do you think... Although, it's interesting to see Pine is... Everyone I've asked so far, Pine's been at the bottom of their lists.
I like Chris Pine. He's a good guy. But, I mean, I guess he hasn't had enough, like... I don't know. I mean, obviously his Captain Kirk is great, but at the same time, the Star Trek movies have kind of been crashing and burning, so I don't know.
Literally. Your mom's crashing and burning? Oh!
Ooh. Shit!
I think J.J. Abrams is just happy that he successfully destroyed 2 of the major sci-fi franchises of all time.
Hey, J.J. Abrams didn't do too badly with The Force Awakens.
Oh, yes, he did.
Although I'm not entirely happy about J.J. Abrams coming back for the 9th movie.
Oh yeah, they've apparently already like stopped giving fucks. The fact that they announced a new trilogy completely helmed by Rian Johnson after the fact of all this, it's like, no, they clearly don't give a shit about 7 through 9 anymore.
Well, I mean, I'm excited for a Rian Johnson-led trilogy. I mean, it kind of feels like, you gave us Ozymandias, you can do whatever you want. Like, I'll trust him for now.
See, I'm still coming off of my Looper reference. That's where I'm expecting, like, okay, I want to see what he could do with the whole Star Wars trilogy, which is, it's quite the bit, to be honest. And honestly, we've got, Ewan McGregor, he's totally young and acting and all that and stuff still. I want a fucking Obi-Wan trilogy, between the trilogies, Obi-Wan trilogy.
Yeah. I mean, Ewan McGregor's a fantastic actor. He's a wonderful actor.
Yes.
I'd love to see him.
Give him something to do. So it doesn't seem like he's just some loser hermit sitting on a desert planet for 40 years while the Empire consumes the galaxy.
But he is.
I know, and I hate that because then he turned frickin' Luke into the same thing. So I'm gonna go sit in the frickin' the Ireland temple for 40 years or 20 years, whatever.
If I could flee to anywhere in the universe to escape my problems, it would be Ireland.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Damn it! We got frickin' Lucas again! It's so dense. Every scene has so much going on.
I'm going to imagine, though. Do you think after all this time on that island, Luke hates the grass?
Oh my gosh, he probably eats the grass. Because
grass.
That's like Zen and Jedi or some shit.
It's so grassy.
Apparently the only defining trait of being a Jedi Master is just total celibacy, which is just sad in so many different ways.
It's unfortunate. The best Star Wars story ever told is still just the Clone Wars.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was the perfect series, and really, as bad as the prequels were, the prequels were like manure, a nice layer of manure spread over the ground from which very healthy plants could grow. But it's like, so the manure did serve a purpose, but it's the plants that matter.
It was one of the most. It was really, really funny because I rewatched the Clone Wars recently after we started learning how to use Maya, and because it was I saw fucking I heard oh shit, so the Clone Wars, that series that I really, really loved, was made in Maya. Okay, let me just go rewatch it again and see, and now sort of just having a working understanding of the software, and then watching the show, it suddenly becomes, how the fuck did they beat that program to give them that? Jesus Christ. Like, fucking hell. I mean, because in my experience, Maya makes After Effects look like Microsoft Word. It's just absurdly complicated.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. So I'm hoping Ruby, as it continues its transition, like, you know, by the end of the series, it's going to look like, you know, like Xbox One tier detail. Goes through the full evolution.
I don't know if you've. I actually don't know if you've. I sent the comparison to the Patreon group a while ago. Let me see if I can find it and send it to you. I went and pulled a screenshot from Season 1, Episode 1 of Ruby, and Season 5, Episode 1 of Ruby. And it's fucking ridiculous how much better the visuals got. Like, holy fuck. See if I can find it.
Then we got into a discussion about Rooster Teeth then versus now. And all that.
I mean, you can't even. It's not even that. There's this like phase 5 of Rooster, or not Rooster Teeth. Red versus Blue. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it was Blood Gulch Chronicles, Recollection Trilogy, Project Freelancer Saga, the Chorus Trilogy, whatever the Red versus Blue Anthology, whatever the fuck the journalist thing was. So we're actually about to enter phase 7. We're about to enter phase 2. Because it doesn't help that Red vs. Blue Anthology was just a 1-season deal, and the journalist thing was just a 1-season deal, which I don't get why they did that as a 1-season thing. Just no. I liked the journalists. It was annoying that they introduced that they ended up introducing one of the best characters in like sort of the 15-season runtime of Red vs. Blue with this journalist, and then they sidelined her. Yes, Needle?
The stream went down.
Fuck, the stream down. No!
Oh, I'm getting resumed messages. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, yeah, the detail between Ruby Season 4 and Ruby, whatever, that's like so stark.
Right, like fucking...
Stream is still down.
Oh, fuck.
Boo!
Alright, I think we're good.
Can any pony hear us? Raise your hand if you can hear us.
Good.
I'm raising
Fuck you.
my hand. I'm raising my hand, guys. Oh, yeah, I think it's working. So yeah, hey Sky, can you drop that into your?
I am doing it right now.
Sweet.
And okay.
Sound effects. You sound like the fucking Storm King.
Storm King. That reminds me of the frickin' chefs from the Muppets.
Storm King was a total dude, bro.
So yeah, you guys could see Skybolt's lining them up at the moment. On the left is Season 5, Episode 1, and on the right is Season 1, Episode 1. And it's fucking insane. So first of all, the transition from Poser to Maya is very fucking clear.
Yeah.
Maya is a far superior piece of software in every conceivable way. Fuck Poser. But so the first major difference between these two is the color of their skin. I don't get this absurd, bright, glossy white glow that they gave them in the first 3 seasons.
Oh yeah, they were all China dolls.
Yeah. Whereas starting from Season 4 and now moving into Season 5, character, first of all, their skin color actually looks like skin. They dropped the shiny texture. Because I mean, if the character stepped into too direct light, and the light was shining off of their skin, you could barely fucking see them. Weiss just kept fading into the background of any brightly lit scene in the first fucking season.
Yes, our beautiful ice princess.
It's a background character back then, pretty much.
Aww.
Oh,
She's Applejack.
Yeah.
Don't be shitting on Weiss.
You know my...
Fuck Weiss.
Fuck Weiss. Although Weiss had one of the most interesting arcs of season 4, so I mean that's not saying much. Season 4 was boring, but
I mean, Weiss instantly became best character just from the "I'm a victim" that moment onward. She was just the best character.
As soon as oh god, she was pretty cool.
Now she's not the best girl. I will clarify that. If we're talking about like hang out on a regular basis, obviously Nora is the top of the list.
Nora.
Yeah.
It goes, or maybe, well, Pyrrha, but Pyrrha's dead. It would have been Pyrrha, Nora, Yang, and then Equestria.
Yang would have been fantastic to hang out with, I feel. I'd hang with Yang. So just going back into this fucking picture, because I still... So, a weird thing with Season 1, especially you can see in this, in this shot, they over-designed the backgrounds. Like if you look at like the fucking brick wall and shit, it is almost a bit too detailed. Like it's just a very, very busy looking shot. Like there's too much variety going on. Whereas if you look at the shot, if you look at the left shot from season 5, there's a lot of things going on there. But the way that they've all been colored and the way that they've all been textured is all very similar and very basic, which just lets Ruby pop out a lot more.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the colors and the lighting.
Yeah, the color grading got so much better as they went on. It like they weren't. It seemed like in the first season they weren't interested in color grading at all, which is a problem for a series which is built so heavily on its colors. Like fucking, let's name our series after colors, but we'll not do any decent color corrections.
Well, I mean, yeah, they almost had it set up where all the characters were crayons or Power Rangers, which did work for the early poser days, but now they're getting into a little bit more complexity and depth.
Exactly. The hair just looks so much nicer in these earliest in the new seasons, and just the outfit designs were a huge step up.
Yeah, I like the outfit designs a lot better too. Obviously, they can put in more detail. They look a little bit more like clothes than whatever. But I don't know.
It's a combat skirt.
Literally everything has grown throughout the series, and I'm gonna say the music has plateaued. I think we're getting about the same number of good songs per season as like maybe season 3. Like since then, it's like leveled out. So that's that's fine. It's natural.
Fucking.
Because I was listening, I got the Volume 4 soundtrack, and just from Armed and Ready and the I forget the song. It's the one that Weiss sings, but it's like the whole song piece. And then Bad Luck something.
I'm gonna go so you guys can talk, because I don't feel like I'm contributing, because I don't fucking watch Ruby.
That's fine. This is bullshit random cast, so you can it's all good.
You're a bullshit random cast.
Oh,
jeez.
Bird on Skyball.
Boo.
Go get a coffee fire hose.
No, I'm not gonna go get a coffee fire hose.
Go make some tea in a kettle.
I don't have a kettle, Vermont.
Just drink
I'll
that.
send you. Oh wait, no, I can't. I'm poor as fuck. If I wasn't poor as fuck, I would send you a kettle for Christmas.
Go buy some mescaline.
Go buy some what?
Mescaline.
What is mescaline?
You'll find out.
No, I don't wanna. Tell me.
I don't know what mescaline is.
It's gonna keep all of you working. That's what it's gonna do.
Stop being hella gay and just tell me, Sky.
No, it's I think it's an amphetamine, but I'm not.
Psychedelic. It's a psychedelic drug.
Oh, okay. So that's writing inspiration.
Yeah, it's a hallucinogen.
I don't have all my drugs like effects well categorized. And what's funny is I used to have to categorize them. I was a narc at one point where we had to take accounting of all controlled 2 through 5 substances.
Narc.
Yes. That was
Gross.
That's
Guy
good
was a fucking narc.
That's good.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, all you have to do is cross the Oregon state line and just be like, okay, all of this is drugs.
You just gotta step over the California border and be like, okay, so now we're in California, everything is illegal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than just stepping into the Florida state border.
Oh, no, that's great, because then you have Florida man running amok on all corners.
No, okay, guys, this is fucking hilarious. So, I went to California last weekend, right?
Ew, why?
For ECLA.
Same.
California.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I went to California for EQLA last weekend. And me living in Oregon, weed is legal. So people smoke it on the side of the road like it's no fucking deal. But when I was in California, people were like smoking a joint but trying to hide it. And it was kind of fucking hilarious. Because they're just like, they would do this thing, they were kind of like hunched over the joint and like huddled in a corner and like smoking the joint. It's just like, really guys, you're not sneaky.
In their defense, I think the amount of federal police around the LA region has increased recently. And that includes DEA.
See, in South Africa, you just see people smoking because they'll just go find a discreet corner because the fucking cops are not particularly great down here.
Oh yeah, speaking of Africa, would you like to give us our our African correspondent quick rundown on what the hell happened in Zimbabwe?
I really can't tell. I thought it was a meme.
Well, yes, Zimbabwe is a meme.
Okay, so I mean, really, we've been finding out the same things that everyone else has been finding out, but essentially, Robert Mugabe has stepped down. Though it must be noted that he stepped down through letter, so very likely someone just forged his signature. But either way, Bob is out of power. But I do want to, there's a lot of people celebrating. I do want to point out that military coup is how Bob got into power in the first place.
Oh my god.
And it's technically not a military coup because the military hasn't taken over. They've forced him out. And now ZANU-PF, the ZANU-PF, which is the party that currently, which it was Bob's party, they are now putting they'll be putting a new leader in place from their party, so it's still following some kind of democratic process. That being so it's still following the presidential line of succession. That being said,
isn't this the first succession? Like, he took over after the fucking Bush War, right?
Yeah, so he's been in power for the last 37 years.
Oh my god.
And so they're putting someone. So the ZANU-PF is now putting a new person in charge, but it is prudent to point out that doesn't necessarily mean things are going to get better.
No.
Maybe for 5, 10. I mean, Mugabe actually kept Zimbabwe quite strong for the first 15 years of his presidency. It was only when he started bumping uglies with his secretary, a young woman named Grace, that things started going downhill. Working theory is that she Lady Macbethed him.
Oh my gosh.
But either way, so
what's the rumor? Is he dead? Or is he, like, hanging out in some rich villa in frickin', I don't know, where would he run off to?
I don't know what is happening to him. I know that the EFF, which is one of the South Africa's political parties, is trying one African government to offer him asylum. Really hope that doesn't happen.
I don't think the EFF, they're not in power though, right? So they can't really.
No,
do
no,
that?
no. They're not in power, but they're still putting some form of pressure on the government. But the DA is very much standing against them, and the ANC hasn't, as far as I know, made a statement on what's on it. I know that that they sent a member of the South African government to intervene, but it's still not entirely certain.
So where else would Bob be if he's alive? Does he have like some palace in Liberia or something?
I'm going to bed. Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, Needle.
With Needle Stitch.
Unfortunately, I don't know where he'll be if he's still alive. It's kind of hard to keep track of all this stuff. There hasn't been an official announcement of where he's going, or where he even is. Everything's being kind of kept in the. We're all being kind of kept in the dark at the moment.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's something that we're fairly used to over here.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, the state of South African journalism is really, 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 really fucking depressing. It's horrifying. I mean, it doesn't help that. So the national broadcaster, the SABC, I don't know why this is, but it's part of South African law that the board, the SABC, is picked by the president. That's one of the president's duties, is to pick the person who runs the largest news corporation in the country.
All right.
I mean, why is that a fucking law? Why is that a thing that is allowed? That is horrifying.
Yeah.
That does not seem like to be a good, sensible anything.
No, it's like, what the fuck do you do with that? I mean, we literally had a point last year where the guy who at the time ran the SABC made the instruction to employees that they were not allowed to report on or print anything that was negative about the ruling party or the president.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. Cool. Welcome to South Africa.
Isn't there some kind of genocide going on too? I've heard rumorings of that.
That's a bit tougher to. That's a bit tougher. It's not something I'm particularly well versed on because. So there are farmers who are being killed. The problem is that they're not being reported on very well, because it's really, really hard to be nice to the Afrikaans. It's kind of like I'm not saying that that's right, but it's something that our country struggles with for very, very, very obvious reasons.
I like how they're attacking farmers, though. It's like, this is going to have no negative repercussions in the future. The people that grow the food.
Our entire country or anything.
Isn't that, like, exactly what happened in Zimbabwe 20 years ago? Is they were the breadbasket of Africa, and now they're the frickin' eating rats in a field because rats are food, kind of?
Jesus Christ. I mean, you're not wrong, but... So, yeah, shit's really, really depressing down here.
Okay, sweet. Back to ponies.
Yeah, let's do something exciting and less depressing. Let's talk
our
about
African
the
news update.
Let's talk about the apocalypse. That's less depressing.
Oh, yeah. No, is there another Mayan Doomsday coming up? That'd be sweet.
I mean, just normal horse apocalypse is fine.
Oh, yes, that's right. Okay, so, yeah, no, it's, overall, I think Twin Terrors worked out great. I was really happy with my episode, and as you were saying, the experimentation with Quiet Black, I mean, it had some clear fans in the comments section, so I think it was a pretty good split.
Yeah, I really liked both of them.
I was really, really happy with Quiet Black. It's funny because the original idea for that actually came from watching an episode of House of Cards back when the show was good. I think that was season 2-ish. They had this really, really nice moment where Spacey and whoever the fuck played the president that were sort of sitting down watching and sort of looking at a picture, and they were saying, you know, what do you think? Which president was it that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima?
That's Harry Truman.
Truman, that was it. Okay. Yeah, they were saying, you know, what do you think? What do you think Truman did the night before the bomb dropped? You know, knowing that he had to give that order, and they were saying, you know, I like to pretend that he sat in this chair and looked at this picture, and just thought. And it's kind of like an interesting idea of, I mean, it was supposed, in the scene itself, it was supposed to underscore the history of the White House, the fact that, you know, all those major decisions that happened there. The thing that caught me the most is what would someone like that have thought before having to do something like that? So it goes down to, what would the zebras who bombed Manhattan, what did they think? Because as the story says, the zebras didn't have access to balefire missiles. They only had their weapons. Their balefire weapons were deployed bombs.
Well, not all of them. They did have missiles, like the ones that were striking against the field.
Yeah, but at the Pegasi. But the ones that the one that destroyed Manhattan was a bomb.
Right. That was in the 4-star place.
Yeah, that was in 4 stars. So that's also you suddenly have not just zebras who are going to be killing all these ponies. You've got zebras who are going to be dying themselves. So when the time came for, like, let's write a horror story for Halloween, the idea of, well, what kind of nightmares would you have the night before you have to do something this horrific to yourself and to other people? So that was kind of the inspiration for that. And then there was just a lot of fun in not entirely revealing what was going on up until they were, like, you know, up until the revelation came that they were in, where they were saying, you know, well, we're in this business called 4-star. I was hoping that would be kind of like the, oh shit,
yeah,
that's what's down now. Oh fuck. Which I figured kind of cool.
No, that's a really neat inspiration for sure.
Right? Let's just steal from House of Cards and then not think about all the horrible things that about Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, it really puts American Beauty in a different spin these days.
The worst one is Baby Driver, which
was
contains
so good, and I just saw that.
It looks so good. I mean, it's such a great film, but don't forget it contains the phrase, "I was just blinded by the balls on that kid."
I know. Damn.
That's my baby.
It's okay, though, because it's going to be everyone soon at this rate.
Oh, yeah, I fucking saw the, the Virgin Mary accuses God of impregnating her without consent.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
I mean, to be fair, as far as I don't know my Bible verses, but didn't God basically just shove a baby in her?
Yeah, it was like, it was sort.
Or did he send an angel to go down and be like, "Hey, are you cool with this?"
No, you're thinking of, like, Egyptian. I'm trying to remember now. I'm trying to, because each of the 4 Gospels tells it a little differently. So yes. Oh, what happened was Gabriel, I think, comes down and he's like, "Hey, so we got this plan, right? Now check this out." And then they were like, yeah, and then it's like, once he revealed the plan, she was like cool with it. Then she was going to bear the son, and blah blah blah. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. So
Gabriel gave her the lowdown, and because she didn't react all weird, then they were like, okay, so we'll run with this then.
I mean, she didn't say no.
Yeah, that's right. We're not California. You don't need, every 10 minutes to be like, yes, this is okay.
Like, fucking,
affirmative consent.
We didn't. She didn't do anything weird, so I'm going to take that as a yes.
Yeah.
Although I kind of got to imagine how that conversation went. Hey, Mary, so you know how the worst part about sex is that sometimes you have to raise a child for 20 years, and that's absolutely horrible. But sometimes it's worth it because the sex is really good. And Mary's like, yeah. And then Gabriel's like, okay, cool. So how would you like to do the horrible stuff but never get laid ever? How does that sound? Oh, and then your child's going to die in front of you.
Yeah.
Like, in the most horrific possible way, we're going to kill your child in front of you.
At least she got famous for it. She's possibly the most famous woman of history because of it.
That's true. That's true. Wow, we are really pushing on blasphemy here.
Do you know how many Catholics say her name every night? It's ridiculous.
Probably. Oh, so we should... I just realized we haven't checked the comments. I'm going to scroll the way to the top.
Yeah, go ahead and start from the top.
Oh, okay. Sir Gull for the win says, I caught one finally. So, recap. This is ABA Gaming 80117. Oh, this is the dude who I kept telling to change his name, and he actually changed his name. I'm very proud of this.
Oh, nice. Did you bully side one of our fans?
I did. Because his original name was ABA Gaming 80117. And so every time he asked a question in the comments section, I'd answer his question, but I'd also ask him to change his name, and I'd insult his name because and I'd insist on saying the full name. So he has now changed it to Sir Gull for the win. Thank you, Sir Gull for the win. Samuel Pierce says, hello, EAST Corp, Darth Emo Elvis. I love that name. That's a good name.
That sounds like a great SNL skit.
Yeah. It does, though. I'd love to stay and listen to you guys, but sadly I'm on my way to work. However, before I leave, I would like to say that I love your work on the Wasteland Survival Guide and the Confessions. Thanks!
Crawling in my skin!
They never remember terminal secrets. My personal favorite is still the one person who commented on a Stable Tech video saying, I'm so glad that Needle and Skybolt left the studio so that Stable Tech couldn't hold them back anymore. And I was like, sitting here like, what the fuck? Like, cool, Needle Stitch is a founding member of EAST Corp Productions and Vermont just isn't there. I'm the fucking fifth Beatle.
Oh no! Yeah, that guy that they left in Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm the lost fifth.
No, you're at least George Harrison.
I'd say Ringo.
Oh,
cool. I'm your Ringo.
Actually, no. I think Kelly would be the Ringo, like the weirdly quiet one, but like still produces a decent amount of work. That's probably Kelly.
Right.
Okay, so then it becomes are you or me, John versus Paul. That's where it breaks down to. I do play bass, so I'd be okay with accepting Paul if we're gonna have this discussion.
The problem is that I don't want to be John Lennon because I like living. I like being alive.
All right, you might have to settle for Ringo then.
I am. To be fair,
shit.
I am a drummer. Fuck, the stream went. Oh, stream's back. So to be fair,
damn it.
I could be Ringo. I am a drummer.
There you go.
Okay, EAST Corp Productions says, "Wake me up inside."
Yeah, wake up.
Samuel Pierce says, "Darn it, Skybolt, this is not the Edgelord chat." Needle says, "Skybolt's an Edgelord." EAST Corp Productions got crawling in my skin wrong.
Yeah, it's late.
It's one. Roy Mustang says it's 1:30 a.m. here. Damn notifications, and then apparently we're butts.
Yeah, I like how all these people have their sound on. When I go to bed, I make sure it's only my alarm that wakes me, not the phone.
Well, I mean,
They must be
my
very
phone
important people.
my alarm, so
No, I mean, so is mine, but, like, you can set it to, like, alarms and special people only. That's a thing that has existed for a while now. Come on, people. Come on, pony.
what else is there? Anything interesting with the comments section?
It was mostly banter about Needle, force-feeding her coffee.
I dare you all to lick a battery live. What?
Oh, I've done that.
How'd that go?
It tastes like power.
Well, I guess that's one way to put it.
Exactly 9 volts of power. Wait, do I have that right? Power? I think that's power. Now I'm looking back at, like, okay, do I have all my conversions right? Should this be in coulombs or joules?
Oh god, someone called Oscar Pine the best soldier. I love that. Oscar and Ruby.
Oh, yeah. He's probably my
He's
favorite new character, just because of how fucked up his situation is.
Right?
It's like, at what point does, like, Ozpin's personality dissolve into his? Like, how does that process work?
Like, what happens if Oscar... Because, like, you know, a lot of people are shipping Oscar and Ruby. So what happens if the two of them hook up? What the fuck is Ozpin's spirit gonna be, like, fucking hanging around there watching these two kids together?
He's gonna be, like, coaching him on. You're like, no, you're moving too fast. Slower now. That would be horrible.
Oh,
Okay, then.
That sounds like a great Rule 34, though. Someone's gonna write that story now.
Take commissions.
Okay. Oh, Samuel Pierce says, I really like Quiet Black. It deserves a nomination of some kind.
There you go.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing is that we were up for nominations for several of our things. I talked about this in a previous podcast because the Audioverse Awards was happening again. Because last year, Skybolt and I and Scratchy were nominated for Best Writing for Terminal Secrets 1, 2, and 3. And Hypnodunk was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. And this year, we ended up getting... We qualified for nomination, but they got rid of their fan category, which was annoying, which is a shame, because we ended up getting, like, fucking 2 writing... I think Wasteland Survival Guide got nominated for Best New Production, Best Writing... Confessions got nominated for Best Writing and got nominated for Best Long-Form Production. We got nominations all over the fucking place. And then they were like, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
you're going to have to... We can't actually give you official nominations anymore. Scribbler got nominated for Best Supporting Actress as well. I think Needle got one for Best Lead for her Ditsy Do.
We got boned.
Yeah, we got boned, but no, we'll be back next year. Oh, Scratchy's in the chat. What doing too early? Hi, Scratchy. What else? Oh, someone wants to know what we do for a living. Skybolt engineers things. I don't know if he's mentioned that 1,000 times. Yeah. Skybolt engineers things. He makes boats work.
I used to make boats work. Now I make rockets work.
Oh, do you do rockets now?
I do rockets now.
that sounds badass.
That's badass. What kind of rockets?
Like the Dyny rockets, the Aerojetty rockety Dyny rockets.
I can hear you doing your best not to go into too much detail.
Yeah.
Because you try not to go into the nitty gritty of the engineering.
The nitty gritty. It is classified. I can't say anymore.
Is it?
No. Well, kind of. I mean, it's like I can't like read specs or anything.
I think you should read specs.
Okay, so what you do is you set the fuel on fire in like this tube and make sure that the fan is spinning. That's very important. The fan has to be spinning at like turbo speeds.
Because if we get, you got to get the, you got to say a bunch of the legal stuff, because then all of the NSA will come watch our videos.
Oh, they already watch our
You'll
videos.
get more views.
And we'll get viewership.
That's the only saving grace of the entire frickin', the entire frickin' like everyone being monitored all the time state is that AIs are retarded. So it's like they can't process any information ever. You know how easy it is to trick YouTube sometimes? They're just stupid robots.
YouTube's algorithm is kind of fucked already. It's famously fucked.
Yeah.
Just don't make Skynet rise yet. I'm not ready. Don't make Skynet mad.
And then what's even funnier is every time they try to make like a true AI, it immediately gets like influenced by people and goes crazy.
Shout out to Tay.
Like there was never forget.
Oh god, Tay.
Tay.ai. Yeah, when Microsoft learned about the internet for the first time, even though they've been a computer company for 30 years.
I love that. Although fucking... So I found this one channel on YouTube that he's been fucking fantastic, is Internet Historian.
Oh, man.
Oh, yes.
Yes, yeah. And, I mean, I recently just rewatched his I think 4-video breakdown of 4chan's Pol Board versus Shia LaBeouf.
He will not divide us.
He will not divide us. I mean, that shit was fucking insane. With the fucking... Shia puts a flag so that you can't see... You can only see the sky. No fucking trees or background things or fucking anything. And they found it in, like... They found it in just over a day, I think?
Yeah. I was lucky to show up in one of the threads just for, like, an hour on that day, but... It was amazing how many people were, like, really running, like, the trigonometry and everything of the frickin' airplanes. Holy hell.
Fucking, they used star sign. I love the fact that one of the biggest clues came from them hearing frogs.
I know, it's so perfect.
like fucking Pepe has been guiding them the whole time.
Oh my gosh. It's transcendent at this point.
It's kind of funny considering like maybe they should just get America should just get 4chan to be their new secret service.
Yeah, it does a better job than the damn CIA, which apparently tried to subvert it during like the whole like last couple years, and they did fuck all. Like they didn't do any kind of subversion. So,
although I'm willing to bet that at least 20% of the CIA are regular 4chan users.
Yeah, I like to think that they like converted them or something. That would be great.
If you like a lot of those motherfuckers are probably in the CIA just fucking around.
Oh yeah, like on their lunch, they're just like,
yeah.
What are you doing, John? Oh, nothing. You're not spreading state secrets again, are you?
Fucking, so that channel has been just fucking beautiful to see. Just to recap some of the wonderful events of the internet. Fucking Tumblr versus 4chan, the Independence Day.
Yeah, that was great.
Attacks, like fucking. That shit was
I also
fantastic.
witnessed that. I was lucky enough. I was in one thread on that because I had just moved to Virginia during that time period, so I was bored as shit and went on 4chan a lot, and I saw part of that. That was great.
I think I joined Tumblr like right after that happened ish.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a Skybolt Tumblr that I set up with all my other accounts, but I almost never use it.
Because I wouldn't mind using Tumblr, but the problem is the user interface is horrifying.
Yeah, I feel like it works well enough on phones, but really only like for one-way communication. It's not like Twitter where there's a lot of dynamic back and forth.
I quite like Twitter. Every now and then I post shit on it, but mostly I use it to keep track of voice actors and actresses who just seeing their availabilities and so on for potentially hiring them in the future. Because I'm a sneaky stun bitch.
We're getting in the chat. Have we seen the Pony Thread Simulator videos? Yes, I did see a few
What?
of those. Those were pretty great. That's classic Brony-dom.
What is that?
They were basically like early like slash MLP the sub or board on 4chan where they would like get one of those text computer voices and like just read a bunch of the various green texts and threads out.
Okay, yeah.
Those are pretty great.
Fucking can't remember what I was going to say now. Oh, so we started the. Damn it! So as we started this podcast, a new episode of Totally Legit came out.
Oh my gosh!
I'm sitting there staring at it in my feed, being like, because it looks like he's doing that one with Rarity and the and her punk hairstyle.
Oh yeah, I still have to see that. Way back.
I really like the season. It's been one of the best seasons that the show has done so far.
It feels like it. It feels like 4 was like a valley, and we've been slowly climbing up out of that again.
I really liked 4. 3 was the one that was like that I figured was just a fucking because that happened during the last writers' strike. So it was only a half a season.
Oh, is that why it was half? Because of a writer's strike?
I think it was a combination of the writer's strike and the first Equestria Girls movie.
Yeah.
If I recall.
Yeah, it was the first Equestria Girls I know they had in production at the time.
Yeah. But season 3 in general it had like 2 good episodes-ish.
Yeah, like 2 or 3, like the first and the last, essentially.
Well, I mean, it had that one Trixie episode, because back then,
that was pretty quality.
Back then, we didn't get regular Trixie.
No, we didn't.
It was literally only after Starlight came by and the show writers realized that the fan base actually really liked this character.
Oh my gosh.
And they were like, oh, shit.
Making her and Trixie, like, bae with privileges, that's been the best. Honestly, I think that's one of the best parts of the show these days.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I know... I really like Starlight. She's been one of my favorite characters.
Starlight is best pony.
Pardon?
Starlight is best pony.
Yeah, Starlight's pretty fucking fantastic. Her relationship with Trixie has just been fantastic. Even though they haven't 100% canonized it, they've also basically canonized it. And it's
just let it happen.
I really don't like it when they dance around those kinds of issues because it's kind of just then it's once again them just being too scared to show homosexual content, which annoys the fuck out of me because it's fucking other shows have been doing it.
Gay.
Just fucking do it already. Get gay. Get very gay.
Hashtag get gay.
I think they're being careful right now just because the news is like crumbling around them. Like, did you hear the story about the Loud House creator?
No.
Oh no, he got caught up in the Weinstein collapse.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Loud House lost its showrunner, the original creator, that guy.
God damn.
Yeah. Which is really sad because it seems like a really fun show. Like, I only saw, I think, one episode where, it's talking about the kid and his sisters and stuff. But, yeah, it's, I'll be honest, I thought the first domino to fall would be Dan Schneider. You know that's going to happen someday, right? It's like, Dan Schneider
Which domino? Oh, Dan Schneider. Fucking... Yeah. Sorry.
They say he's got a feet fetish just like frickin' Quentin Tarantino does.
Oh god, so I did actually start watching a new show recently, which was fucking since we're talking about cartoonies, so I started watching Star versus the Forces of Evil recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I was really, really surprised at how fucking funny it was. Like, just from the right from the intro, it just has this energy and upbeat nature to it that was... It's kind of like... It's like the anti-BoJack Horseman. It's kind of like let's see how many situations, how dark a situation we can take and make it seem upbeat. I mean, there's literally a flashback where she's like, you know, well, I was raised by the royal guard, and then flashes back and the guard's holding a teddy bear, and the guard's like, you know you've done it right when you hear the neck go crack.
Oh my gosh.
And she's like this fucking 5-year-old baby learning how to snap a neck. What the fuck?
Is this a Disney show? I've only seen...
Yeah, it's a Disney show.
Okay, I've only seen like the bits online. I've never actually searched it out.
No, it's really, really funny.
I've heard really good things about it.
It is
Pardon?
really good.
I said I've heard really good things about it, and I was thinking about checking it out soon.
It's funny that the Patreon chat is, you know, there's various shitposting, various ponies, various EAST Corp stuff, but there's also like at least 60% of it is just me recommending shows and audio dramas. Every week, at least once a week, it'll be, oh my god, guys, have you seen this show? Let me talk about this show for the next 2 hours. And you guys have to...
Yeah, we now have a channel for it.
We do. I had to make a separate channel in the Discord so that I didn't keep spamming the main chat, which is just me so this new channel is just me recommending shit.
Nice.
Because I've got a fairly large catalog of shows and audio dramas that a lot of people in our Patreon group just haven't seen yet. Which y'all need to see this shit. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I somewhere in the chat, I just remembered someone mentioned, I've been watching a little bit of The Punisher, but unfortunately it fell into the same kind of problems as Daredevil, where it's like, I don't know, I know fight scenes are expensive to choreograph and stuff, but there's just too much time sitting around and doing, like, random shit. It's too slow of a format. I really can't hang on. And that's one of the reasons I didn't even try for, like, Defenders or Iron Fist or anything.
Fuck, Defenders was so average.
Yeah, I wanted to give it a chance for Punisher, but even then, this is, like, it's pretty light. Like, at the opening of the pilot is, basically like the closing of his plotline from the last one, and then I mean, this is a spoiler, but he does it like immediately. He burns the chest thing with the Punisher face. He like literally melts it.
Yeah,
and that felt very symbolic to me. That felt like, oh, we're just gonna throw this shit away and do, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I've only seen the first 2 episodes so far, but in the first 2 episodes, they've had 1 fight scene.
Yeah.
No, 2. They've had 2 fight scenes. And it's. I've been enjoying The Punisher for these first 2 episodes, but there is a lot of talking. Like, in terms of what The Punisher advertised, and what I was expecting, it was meant. Like, the fights are fantastic, and as MacB says in the comments, they are brutal as hell. But there's just not enough of them. It is too much talking, and like fucking, I can understand. It's like I can understand there being a lot of talking in, you know, Jessica Jones. That makes sense. That's a detective show. Even Daredevil to some extent, because it's part superhero show, part legal procedural. But
yeah,
like it kind of works there. It doesn't work in The Punisher. The Punisher's the only thing he has going for him is that he kills a lot of people and he does it brutally.
Yeah, I'll be honest, like, his just handful of scenes in Daredevil Season 2 are better than the first 8 episodes I've watched of The Punisher. And that's really sad. I mean, even the courtroom stuff, it's like, it's complex and it's like, you know, gritty and interesting. And it's like, I mean, honestly, most of the season is goofing around with the freaking Leibowitz guy or whatever his name is. And I'm like, I really couldn't give less of a shit about him. All I'm waiting is for Punisher to, like, essentially steal his wife and... Oh, and James is gone. Yeah, I don't know. Punisher, I guess part of my problem is I just don't like any of the side characters, so it's like when they take up screen time, does nothing for me. Leibowitz guy, boring. Frickin' the DHS chick, boring. The frickin' what's his name? Amazon Prime show Goliath. I haven't seen that, but I might have to check that out.
Oh, I think we lost Vermont.
Yeah, we did.
Did you talk about Stranger Things last week? Because I haven't. I'm behind a podcast.
We might have, but we could talk about it again. I don't think we brought it up too much.
Oh, because I just shotgunned all of Stranger Things 2 last night.
Nice.
And I found it really enjoyable.
Yeah, and obviously the main point of contention most people are having with the season is the experimental episode 7, and from what I can tell, it's like, yes, it was good that they're like opening up like new avenues for future, because of course they like have 2 more seasons on order already, but where they placed that episode was kind of, I don't know, it was jarring. It broke up like the sort of momentum of the action, so then it felt like the last couple episodes had to like rebuild that and like remind people of what the heck is going on again. And I don't know, it's just kind of random.
Yeah, I can see that argument, but I think I can overlook that because it was a good episode, even if it was solely focused on 11 for the whole thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't that the 11 episode?
Yeah, dragging that train car, that was pretty sweet. And what's her name? The mindfuck girl.
Better to use the dark side.
Yeah.
Anger.
Yeah, so now we have 11 and 8, and we don't know if 11 is the last one, but she could be, so now we have, like, potentially 9 other characters running around for future, crossover episodes and stuff. So now it's almost like that movie 9 with the ragdoll soul people.
Oh,
That was a great movie.
I actually just watched that because it came on Netflix again, and yeah, I forgot how good that was. That was a very like concise but well told story.
Oh yeah, it was one of my favorite films of my childhood. It's a really good one.
I mean, I love that part how, where we're seeing the robots and stuff, and little by little, and then it just is, like, revealed that the doctor's like, yeah, so, in order to make this brain thing work, I essentially just transferred my intelligence into it with this ancient, arcane, like, symbology from some, like, spiritualist, alchemist book. That's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, it's a really good story that that I found a lot of the backstory of the whole thing very good, because I've been a big fan of post-apocalyptic stuff for a long time. Oh, yes, obviously.
What, post-apocalyptic? Yeah, we've never heard of that.
I know, right?
No one's ever woke up to anyone saying, good morning, post-apocalyptia. Never.
It is pretty crazy how, like, much that has permeated culture. I guess that's what 50 years of Cold War does. So it's like, it's the zeitgeist of media for 3 decades.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah, just in time for the next Cold War. It's perfect. It'll hold us over. I think back to, with Stranger Things, I really wish that episode, honestly, they were kind of going for like a Warriors kind of feel as far as 80s movies. I wish they had gone more of like a RoboCop feel. Like that really gritty, like super corporatist, like, because all of season 1 and 2 is about, obviously the evil government agency, which is totally true. But what if they had like one side character where it was like, there's some company that's trying to steal it from the government and maybe transfer it to the Soviets or whatever they're afraid of. That would have been like more like interesting brick slaying for the future than just, the 8 and her cadre of like random people.
Yeah, it does sound like a good idea for next season. And now that you mention it, it would have been really nice to have a little bit of foreshadowing and brick building, as you say, for the next one.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I am excited though. It's definitely a good show, and it seems like they're trying to pace it well with because kid actors and stuff, they're just growing up, and even 11 herself, she grew a lot between the last season and this season. So it's like, I'm always curious how they go with casts that are very time dependent. Like I'm not sure if you guys watch the Rooster Teeth show Day 5.
We need to catch up on that.
Yeah, I haven't got my first membership back yet, but I watched the first. We've watched the first season of that, just not the second one.
Okay, I won't bring that up then. But Stranger Things is great, and it's just they really obviously going. Oh, is he back?
I'm back.
Oh my gosh.
It's like the second coming of Christ.
How many times has the
attractive.
stream rebooted though? It's like
and more realistic.
We're out of Christ and we're into Hindu reincarnation at this point.
Oh, your stream's offline, by the way.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Is it?
No, it's back.
Yeah,
I still see it.
Redonkulous. I don't know why the stream is so fucked tonight. My internet seems fine. I haven't had any other problems, so I don't know.
It could be on YouTube's end.
Yeah, probably. YouTube's committing Harry Carey or something.
Maybe they're trying to take your voice, make a bot out of you, and just hijack your channel.
Yeah. Like a bat out of hell, like a gone. Yeah, so, and he's gone again.
Be gone.
Speaking of franchises that are releasing around now, I guess Justice League released to very minimal fanfare, which honestly I thought the time they released it was bad. That's an awkward time for movie season. I don't know.
That would be a better summer movie for sure when kids aren't all in school, when the fans are less busy.
Yeah, because it's I can't remember what the major Marvel summer movie was. I mean, Guardians 2 was in August, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so I wonder why they couldn't have placed it in June unless Warner Brothers had something else going on then.
What wasn't Suicide Squad this year?
No, that was last year. That was August 2016.
Oh God, the time just flies by so fast.
I know. Oh man. Yeah, but anyway, from what I've heard from Justice League is that it's just it's all the same, it's systemic problems. They can't just fix it movie to movie because this is baked into the universe, and now all these people are talking about the post Ben Affleck Batman because they're saying he either is going to leave because he doesn't want to be there anymore, or I don't know, it's all falling apart.
Well, you know what they say, things fall apart. Don't always get to see the rabbits.
This is what happens when you put freaking Zack Snyder in charge of your multi-movie franchise. What were they thinking?
Yeah, I'm not too versed on directors, but yeah, I've heard a lot of really bad things come out of Justice League, and we were thinking about going to go see it, but we're gonna go see Thor instead, probably, because we've heard.
Which is really, really sad that Justice League, the Justice League movie with Batman and Superman and all these other characters is barely holding a candle against a single Thor movie that happens to have the Hulk, sure, but it's this is the Thor after the very poorly received Thor the Dark World. It should not be competing with that. It should be competing with Infinity Wars, but They know they don't have nearly... Well, it's like going back to last year when they were putting Batman vs. Superman head-to-head against Civil War, but then they blinked. And I think, honestly, that... Well, besides the franchise itself, that is where a lot of problems started, is they were both going to be that same weekend, early May, and then DC backed off. And they're like, okay, well we'll put ours in March. And then... comes out in March, but it's like, I don't know, spring is like a bad season for movies. And it's like, that's where people put the stuff they don't really care about. And and then, of course, everyone knows how Batman vs. Superman turned out, so yeah, it's sad. It's just sad.
I wouldn't necessarily say that's a bad time. I'd say a worse time for movies like that is Valentine's Day. Sure, you get good ones like Deadpool, but that's love movies. That's not where you want your action movies, is when people are thinking of love movies and stuff.
Yeah. I see Samuel Pierce in the comments suggesting the Justice League of the 80s. I don't remember the 80s cartoon. I remember on Boomerang some of the Super Friends cartoons. And then, of course, there was the great Paul Dini Justice League of the early 2000s. That I have all on DVD. Those are great.
Oh,
Right. I think a lot of the problems, what I really know is that basically anything related to like Time Warner and Warner Brothers, anything under that conglomerate is pretty screwed at this point.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, no one, or at least I, when I was growing up, didn't think too much of like the studios as like major factors in movies. But the older you get and the more you look at like behind the scenes, how significant all this stuff really is. You're like, okay, there's another weird Sony movie, like the Emoji Movie or something. And it's like, or like this crap with Warner Brothers. And, Marvel's a little bit easier because it's Marvel for everything. But like, yeah, I think people are starting to wake up to the fact that like the studio driving the movie production really makes a big difference.
Yeah, like Time Warner's like the worst ISP cable provider. Yeah, of course CNN and Cartoon Network with all of its Teen Titans Go, and the DC cinematic universe. It just seems like they're having a real bad time.
This is all just universal karma because they canceled World Peace. This is Sam Hyde's revenge. Oh my God! Yeah, I remember too growing up with Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, and honestly, both of those, as entities it wasn't really Turner, and definitely wasn't Ted himself. It was Mike Lazo that made all of those a success. I mean, Cartoon Network wasn't going anywhere until he took the reins and got a hold of programming, and then of course Adult Swim, which he became much more centerpiece on. And yeah, I don't know. It's like corporations ruining it for the little creators. No matter how smart they are. Whereas with Marvel, it was sort of the perfect storm. You had a creative type like Kevin Feige, who happened to be good at the business side of things as well. And so when Marvel Studios got purchased, Disney let them have free reign. They saw the potential in Feige after the original Iron Man was so successful, and bada bing, we're 15 movies in? I mean, it's crazy. There's been nothing like this Marvel Cinematic Universe before, and then if you count in things like the Netflix series and all their other interrelated properties, it's really impressive. I mean, the closest thing was probably, like, I don't know, the combined Justice League and Batman and Superman cartoons of the early 2000s, but even then.
I think it's a very good translation of, like, a comic book universe into this new cinematic universe type of property, where it's like each movie is like a compendium sort of deal.
Yeah, and it's, uncharted territory, but they seem to have been forging, like, well enough ahead. It's like they have that, like, master formula, like, it's like a formula, but I'd say it's almost more like a tone. It's like that master Marvel tone that carries through everything, and then each movie is sort of like a harmony. Every one of them is a little bit different, so it's got its own unique flavor, but it still is part of that Marvel tone, and so you can enjoy your Guardians of the Galaxy, or your offshoot thing like Ant-Man, or your Thor movies, or Captain America's, and they all have enough of a unique flavor that you can appreciate them like on an individual level as well as the whole serial level. So yeah, it really is, like, honestly, like, lightning in a bottle. Like, they're definitely not going to have a movie series like this for a long time because a lot of other studios are trying this crap and they can't do it. DC couldn't do it. Frickin' Universal has tried, like, 3 times now to make a monster interconnected universe deal. Dark World. Or Dark Universe. Oh my gosh. And that's just completely fallen on its face.
Then now they're trying to make an Independence Day cinematic universe.
Now that's a joke. I can't even believe that. And also the Transformers magic has completely run out of juice because, I mean, honestly, freaking Michael Bay is lucky he was able to milk that cow for as many movies as he has. I think all the fun poppiness that people go to the Transformers movies to see is being much better captured in things like Marvel movies. And the other thing is, Marvel movies have a better story. They have likable characters, whereas, like, every character in every Transformers movie is, like, you know, not likable. So, I don't know.
I mean, be that as it may, one of the things I didn't like about the Transformers movies is that they basically took away their main cast, their protagonists, as the movies went on, because, like, didn't the most recent one didn't even have Shia LaBeouf in it at all?
Yeah, the last 2 didn't. They ripped him out and replaced him with Mikey. Dang it, what's his name? Marky Mark. Mark Wahlberg.
Marky Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they started doing that in, like, the 3rd movie when they took Shia LaBeouf's girlfriend away.
Yeah, that was a whole nother deal.
But
That was Shia's last movie.
really, only explosions can only take you so far.
Well, and the other thing, too, is, like, of course, the Transformers universe, it was never, like, super crazy deep lore. I mean, yeah, everyone in the 80s knows that the cartoons were started as commercials for toys or candy or something. But it's like there was still, you know, you go back and you watch the 86 Transformers movie, and yes, the cartoon show was cheesy, but there was heart there. There was, like, you know, something they were trying to create out of all of that, and it's like the new movies are just these, like, soulless and, you know, just the design of the Transformers I always thought was just so ugly and terrible. They're like living tornadoes of garbage. I just hated the way they looked.
Yeah. I definitely.
It's
yeah,
like, I guess it makes sense on, like, some kind of production logic level about, like, you know, oh, yeah, you know, it's got to have all these moving parts because it's, like, alive. So it's, like, these, you know, all these little machine bits and stuff. But I'm like, it looks so ugly. It's like, then have the solid sections, you know, make that just the transition, and then they seal themselves up, like, you know, so they look more like they did in the cartoons. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I would have liked that better instead of the whatever is going on right now.
Especially with the eyes. I think the eyes are part of the problem, is that they're those really, you know, kind of creepy looking with you know, lenses, like a camera, a shutter, and, you know, of course that's technology, that the optical shutter or whatever that's called. But it also has the unsettling effect because for hundreds of movies before the Transformers, that's used as a scary thing. You know, you see, like, a camera that's spying on you has a shutter like that, or like you know, a rear window and stuff like that. You know, it's not really a friendly thing. So these robots that you're supposed to connect to and associate with, they should have done, again, like the cartoons, make it a glass eye panel with, like, a light, you know, a concentration of, like a soft glow where the pupil is, you know. I mean, it would have worked so much better, and it would have been so much easier to animate, too.
Hello?
I can hear you. Hello?
Okay, I got you back.
Yeah, the stream just, kabukied and reset again, so... Yeah, I don't know why the stream is doing this. This is crazy.
Must be those darn ISPs.
Oh yeah, someone's bringing up in the chat. You mean like Aperture? Yes, actually, that's really fitting. As well. What was it? 2007 when that came out, which I guess was the same year as the first Transformers. So obviously they had no idea the small zeitgeist that the Portal games would be. But yeah, I don't know. It's like well, honestly, these are the little things that really matter when you talk about like creative. Like, if you look through like the history of Disney, going all the way back to the 20s and 30s, like the method, the ideology behind the cartoons is what made Disney stand out. You know, he wasn't the only guy in the game. There was Disney and Fleischer and a couple of those other guys really hitting the animation engine hard in the early days, but Disney stood out because he focused on things like body proportions. You know, he had that, there's that famous chart about like how to make the perfect cute baby, and it's like, you know, the soft legs on the form and the fat like elbows and things like that. And it's like, it's stupid, but all those little things actually add up, and it's like at the back of your, you know, your monkey caveman brain, all those things fire different triggers, and it adds up over time. That's why you see things like Mac and Me, and it doesn't quite do the same thing for you, ZT.
Yeah, one of the most interesting things I find about animation is that, well, what I found surprising when I looked into stuff like that was like how intricate you have to make the eyes, how well you have to design those in order to make them feel certain ways.
Exactly, no, because that's like a very like base instinct as well, you know, the eyes being the portal to the soul, and it's like there's so many, you know, millions of years of like engineered trust and you know, subtle like signaling and stuff, you know, long before language, and you see it in all these other creatures too, different animals out there. So it's yeah. So at the end of the day, it's just the Transformers had like bad designs. I mean, even you look at like the Pacific Rim, like those robots are more solid. They look a lot closer to like what Transformers should look like, even though they're, you know, different size proportions and stuff. And then Pacific Rim, that just had a different problem of the story was just a little bit, it was trying to be too genuine and trying to be too silly, I felt like, at the same time. So then a lot of like plot inconsistencies happened around there. Like for instance, they know exactly where the frickin' the you know, the asshole is in the Pacific, and it's not that big. It's like one island. So instead of putting up, you know, 8,000 miles of wall along the Asian coastline and North American coastline, they could have just like put all the navies and like build like artificial islands right around the rip, and then just as soon as you see something popping out, you immediately just layer on the nukes or whatever and push it back in.
Yeah, like or you could just put a big concrete cork in the hole or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I also felt like the dual brain thing, like the syncing, that was a little bit contrived. That's a little bit like early 80s anime, but at the same time, it could have worked if they had maybe like toyed with it a little more, put more like thought into the results and the dialogue and stuff too, because it's like, I remember they played that Idris Elba speech a few times, and it's like, man, even by the low standards of the original Independence Day movie, which was pure cheese, you know, that was one giant brick of gorgonzola, still the Michael Paxton, or whatever his name was, Paxton line, President Guy line of like, yeah, this is our Independence Day, that was still more memorable than what they were obviously trying to meme with Idris Elba's speech. It's like,
I still get goosebumps whenever listening to the president's speech.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because it's like they were genuine. It maintained whatever that tone was and kept it through the whole movie, whereas I felt Pacific Rim was like on wobbly legs. And then, of course, there's other inconsistencies that apparently they've started learning from, which is like, oh, they struggle so much with these creatures and blah, 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 laser, punching. And then one guy just whips out a sword and immediately decapitates one of them. It's like, You gotta be fucking kidding me. Why isn't that guy just like the guardian of the rip? And as soon as he sees something, he just, goes like ninja on it.
Yeah, like it's all like, oh, let's just keep trying to throw him around, and maybe that'll hurt him. It's like, you had that sword in you the whole time?
Yeah, so I don't know. I could see that this was like a labor of love for what's his name? Yeah, Del Toro. Like, it is obviously just something fun he's been wanting to do forever, but I kind of wish he had put more, like, I don't know, put a little bit more into the story and dialogue, so everything would have like been more cohesive. We have someone in the chat bringing up Big Mouth as far as design fails. I'm not sure how much you guys know about that, but yeah, those are the ugliest character designs ever. Like, I saw a meme about like it had the main like red shirt guy next to just some random anime like chick, like a high school teenager, and it's like 2 stories about puberty. Which one would you rather watch? And it's like, yeah, this is pretty obvious.
Yeah, I listened to a lot of the controversy when those trailers came out, and just last night watched like a 30-minute little breakdown of how bad it was.
Yeah, I remember that very first trailer, and like I had no idea. Like I'd seen 1 or 2 comments about like, look at this is so bad, and all I saw was a thumbnail, right? So I'm watching the trailer, and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's like that Where the Wild Things Are, but they're like puberty. And stuff, and then it gets to like that last scene in the trailer where it's the girl character, and then suddenly she's got a mirror and she's talking to herself, and I'm like, what the hell? And I had to check the YouTube channel. I'm like, okay, this is like an official channel. It's not like some weird thing someone made. I mean, I don't know. I'm surprised they got away with that. Like, how do you get away with that? That's so yeah.
And what's worse about it is that they've ordered more of it.
Oh yeah, no, it's just like, why? And then the voices too. Like, when I actually listened to like a few like miscellaneous clips people posted, and I'm like, they sound like a bunch of like Seinfeld rejects trying to play like teenagers, or not really trying. They're just like, they're just talking in our normal adult voices, and oh yeah, I'm a 12-year-old kid going through puberty. I'm like, no, you're not. This is like, that's, they could have at least done the South Park thing and just like tone, or what is it, pitch change their voices so they sound like kids. That's so easy. I mean, I can do that myself. It takes like 5 minutes to set up a track. So I don't know. I just, it just felt like a vector for those Seinfeld rejects to tell their 90s era Seinfeld jokes about puberty.
Yeah, it's we put Netflix up as this big freaking revolutionary thing, and it's all like, they produce really good stuff like Stranger Things, but then you got stuff like Big Mouth and Bill Nye.
Yeah, Bill Nye the fucking science guy. Don't get me started on him. I have the same amount of scholastic university education as Bill Nye, which is just a bachelor's degree in fucking mechanical engineering. And that guy goes around like he's freaking Einstein or something, and it's pissed me off more and more every year when I see his like stupid freaking face everywhere.
Have you actually seen his bachelor though? Do you know he's actually got one, and that he's not just talking the talk?
Yeah, that's true too. Maybe we'll have to get pics or it didn't happen. Yeah, for all we know, he's just a high school dropout, who got a Disney show and plays the part on TV.
Yeah, I could have more education than Bill Nye.
It's like, that just, no. If I want to talk to a science guy, I want to talk to, like, the guy that just, the guy who just did the CRISPR gene editing, maybe. That sounds like someone who really knows something about science. Not someone who can, like, rehash a bunch of, big corporate oligarchy positions on political climate issues. It's like, oh, yeah, I would love to be in total agreement with Google. This megalopoly of, like, international digital data transferring about their position on climate, because I'm sure they only have all of our best interests at heart. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, don't be evil, but we are tracking your phone no matter what. No, whether you click the on button or off button, we're controlling all your phone data. Which I guess I'm a pessimist, because I just assumed all this in the first place. Like, when the WikiLeaks thing first came out in the 2010s or whatever, I was like, well, yeah. It's like, everyone was shocked, like, oh my god, you mean Santa Claus isn't real? Oh my god, you guys, Santa Claus isn't real? Like, of course they're tracking you. I don't know. So maybe I'm a pessimist.
I think more or less it was the concrete reality that they were spying on all of us.
Yeah.
Everyone knew it, but they still had to have like a reaction when it actually came out that yeah, everything about that is true.
That's why I flip off my Microsoft Kinect camera every time I get home.
I put duct tape over my camera.
That's smart. That's really smart. What is this? A podcast in the morning? Yes, I was bored, and so I just called the chat, and people actually answered. Yes, happy Thanksgiving for our American friends out there. It's also Thanksgiving for me now.
Well, happy Turkey Day. Don't overeat.
Oh man, I'm gonna do all the overeating. It's gonna be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I think it might still be my birthday in the middle of the Pacific somewhere.
Oh, nice. Yeah, someone in the chat. Yes, Netflix funded Neo Yokio. Why? And no, I agree. What the hell was that? Like, who? I mean, Will Smith paid them, right? Like, there's no way Jaden Smith is getting, like, acting gigs just because of his talent. I mean, that's literally impossible at this point.
Yeah, what was that, like, post-apocalyptic movie, like After Earth or whatever?
After Earth.
I watched that, and for the life of me, I don't remember it. I think I repressed it.
Oh man, the just all the media around that movie is so much more interesting and entertaining. It's like, you know, you can, like, a great place to start is like the Red Letter Media, their review of it. They talk a little bit, and you can, like, Google all these weird dealings with, like, how it was sort of going to be like Will Smith and his son's, like, you know, this is his project, and he, like, it almost sounds like he commissioned frickin' M. Night Shyamalan to do it for them, which goes back to why. It's like, I mean, this is, you know, he grew up working for Quincy Jones. You know, find a good director to do your son, you know, buddy project movie. But no, they picked M. Night Shyamalan's.
Freaking director of the worst movie in history. Arguably.
Several of the worst movies in history.
Let me get started on Split.
Yeah, it's it seems he can only do a halfway decent movie when Bruce Willis is involved.
Bruce what?
Yeah, Bruce Willis.
I think you chopped out again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Yeah, the stream is all kinds of fucked again. Yeah, the other thing too is Netflix seems to be dumping, like, all this cash into anime, which is really interesting. There must be some VP of programming that's just like a total weeaboo, and he's just like, I want all the Netflix anime. And so then we got like 8 episodes of this Castlevania series, which is incredibly quality. I would love to see more of this. And so I made sure to watch it and blah, 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 talk about it. So I hope they fund more of that, because that was good, but they'll probably just keep pouring money into frickin' Neo Yokio and stuff.
That's something else we can do, Derek. We gotta find the Netflix anime.
We gotta go find and watch all the anime.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, honestly, it's like every time I turn on the machine, there's some new Netflix-created anime, or Netflix extension of something. The only one I've watched that was of any quality was that Castlevania, but then again, I'm not the biggest anime connoisseur.
Yeah, me neither. I've only watched like a few things. Actually, we were in the middle of watching the Cowboy Bebop movie.
Oh yeah.
When you were all like, let's start a podcast.
I just got that on Blu-ray, actually.
Sorry, what was that about a podcast?
Oh my god, James is back.
He's alive!
Vermont's only back very temporarily to say to say that about my service provider just sent a message saying that they'll be conducting network maintenance on the cables from 9 to 12. Do you want to know what time it is?
9?
11. Their maintenance started 2 hours ago. They only just told us.
Well, isn't that something they could have done, like, when you guys were asleep? Like, when it was nighttime there?
Yep, they definitely could have done that. But this is South Africa.
That sucks.
And they don't do the shit for because of maliciousness or anything. They're just incompetent. Anyway, I'm on my backup Wi-Fi at the moment, and it only has enough broadband for me to come on and say, hey, what's up? This is what happened. Fuck you. I'm going to go make myself a peanut butter and sandwich. What?
Peanut butter and sandwich? Are you just gonna like have a sandwich beside a pile of peanut butter?
Yes, obviously. That's how you have peanut butter and a sandwich.
I like that image. That's like you have like something random, like a Reuben on the plate, and then just next to it is just a jar of like Skippy peanut butter. Peanut butter.
Oh. All right, cool. I'm out of here. Goodbye.
Bye.
Doodles.
I might be back in an hour or two.
I don't think we'll be there then, but
fuck that shit. I'm gonna start my own podcast.
That's what I did. Why not?
Oh my god, I should totally go bother the other animators who are currently working, and I'll just go start a video podcast off my phone.
Do it.
Okay, goodbye, everyone.
Zebra Dick Part 3 or Part 2.
Pop by in like 3 hours. You might see another podcast popping up.
If you count this podcast, then it got circumcised during a good part of the podcast.
All right, goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Doodles.
I do.
Yeah, so I think that's all the random stuff I was going to talk about too. I'm not sure if there's anything else you guys wanted to talk about.
Not really. Have we talked about EA?
No, that's something we could discuss. About the Battle Fail? Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 2.
Okay, so I like how EA, and this is obviously just damage control, but they put out that, like, thing the day before, like, oh, we're listening to you guys, and we're going to disable microtransactions for now. And here's the thing, too. It's like the upset over this whole, like micro super marketplace, that's not, like, a this year thing. That's something people have been bitching about for, like, 5 years now. So obviously it's not that people don't care. It's that EA knows enough people will still buy the game anyway. So they're just putting out all these fakey nice statements so people will keep buying the game. And then, they hit all those first month sales figures. And then, they can start turning all those back on little by little when no one cares anymore, when the story is past.
EA, Bethesda, gaming's dying.
I think it's just reached a critical point that everything's just boiled over, and right now it's gotten way too big, and they're gonna and the whole gaming industry is gonna crash in a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where this ends up, but EA too is this horrible cannibalistic corporation where it finds a small studio that is quality and it just kills it. Look at what happened to frickin' Mass Effect Andromeda. It's just what did they do? Why? And it's everyone knows the good Battlefront 2 was made frickin' 12 years ago, 2005. That was the only good Battlefront 2.
Yeah, they turned the servers for that back on.
Oh my gosh, that would probably get more traffic than the EA servers.
I would like to see the numbers for that.
Oh, me too. With the same graphics and everything. I'll pull out my Xbox original again.
I think it's just PC that the servers are on, unfortunately.
You could probably run some Go servers on an emulator website.
Probably.
Oh man, I'm sure there's a whole community of like super hardcore Star Wars fans that do that. I remember when they turned off the Star Wars Galaxy servers. That was the first MMO that was like half baked to begin with. Because I remember as a kid, I actually got Star Wars Galaxies, but I didn't really understand MMOs at the time. Like this was before even World of Warcraft, and so then when I told my mom about it, I'm like, oh, it's like a monthly subscription thing. She's like, oh no, we're not going to do that. So it's like I had this freaking giant MMO, 5 discs worth of info and the guidebook and everything, and never played it.
Man, yeah, like I remember when I was a kid, I got a copy of Spore, and I could never get it to work on any of the computers around because they were all like desktops from the early 2000s running Windows XP on them.
Yeah. Spore was magical too, because that was like just like drawing dick simulator.
Hey, you can make some good things if you're not trying to draw dicks.
Oh my gosh.
You sometimes end up with dicks, but
It was interesting how many what kind of character creation tools they did have. It was a unique like engine for sure.
Yeah, I played a little bit of that when I was like in my early teens.
oh,
Yeah, if we're talking back in the day, like for me, it was The Sims, the original, Roller Coaster Tycoon, and then Star Wars Battlegrounds, the RTS. Not sure if anyone remembers that.
I played a bit of that when I was younger.
That
Didn't
was
understand that much.
What really disappoints me, back to EA and BioWare, is that we're probably never gonna get another KOTOR game.
I know. How freaking that's a travesty.
I still have those on my computer, right? Yeah, I can't.
And
I can't.
again, we were talking earlier about Star Wars. It's like, what I really don't like is that they killed off the extended universe to make way for the new movies.
Yeah, for the Disney bleached universe.
The extended universe is where it's at. I mean,
yeah, the Old Republic is probably the best thing that Star Wars put out, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, the MMO Old Republic, or just the
the Knights of the Old Republic games.
yeah. Yeah, no, those were very, very popular. I know I had a friend who pretty much got into the whole extended universe just from those games alone.
Yeah, I started reading. I dabbled a little bit in the extended universe, but that's because my friend here's a big Star Wars nerd.
I grew up with no friends and nothing but the entire expanded universe, every single book.
Nice. No, that's same with me. And my friend, he's got like all, 25 or whatever large library of all the old stuff. And yeah, and the other thing too, you think about like what could have been. So it's like we got this shitty, not Battlefront 2, because the original Battlefront 2 is the best. We got this EA DICE Battlefront 2 instead of Star Wars 1313, which looked genuinely interesting.
Was that what was being produced by Visceral?
I think so. That was the one where they're like going down the layers of Coruscant to level 1313, and it's like a giant like slum world. And I don't know if you were like a cop or like a bounty hunter or something, but you had to like find someone.
Man,
that's an interesting idea. They played with that in some of the books.
Yeah, because that was lore I didn't even know about at the time. Like I saw the first trailer and I'm like, I don't know, I always assumed Coruscant, it was just like a planet, but they built so much like over it, it was like a commentary on like industry. It's like the factories overtook the green Earth and now it's just pure cityscape for the entire planet.
Not to give the prequels any credit, because I personally don't like them much, but you can kind of see that in Episode 2 when Obi-Wan goes to Dex Jester's diner.
Yeah, I'll have to look through those again. I got the Blu-ray pack recently, so I have yet to watch them on Blu-ray, but yeah. Star Wars, it's interesting. I would love to see that though. Like, I mean, you've got this well, it's like Coruscant has got to still be out there, right? Like that hasn't been destroyed by Death Stars or the frickin' was it the Star Killer?
I think it's still there, because I think it was like, it wasn't very clear what worlds they blew up with the Star Killer base in the last movie.
Yeah, they named, I think, the system, right? It was like the Hadrian system or something like that.
I think it was something like that, but I don't think it was Coruscant. Coruscant would still likely be the Empire's 0-0.
Yeah, because
the rebellion never really won.
Yeah, no, they didn't, and it's like they kind of like essentially like retreated back into the unknown regions, which is where they apparently like retrofitted the planet that became the Star Killer, which is really funny because it like it sort of makes all the sacrifices for Episode 6 kind of worthless because they're like, oh yeah, it was just like they came back, you know, whatever. Oh yeah, Halcyon Cluster. Thank you, Sergol FTW.
I don't like how the fact that they named it Star Killer Base. It's like, okay, we bought this. We're gonna completely throw all this out. The freaking what are they? The Vader Secret Apprentice games. Those two.
Yeah.
Your codename Star Killer. It just seemed like a nod to it to me, but at the same time, I didn't like it.
Oh, you mean like the Force Unleashed?
Force Unleashed. There we go.
Yeah. That first Force Unleashed game was quality. The second one felt a little stapled on, but the first one was fun. I really liked that.
Yeah, it was. That was a great game.
I remember I played that a little bit on my cousin's Wii, and I had a little bit of a good fun with it.
I see someone in the chat mentioned Halo. Yes, for me, when I first got the Xbox was for Halo, and that was the lore that I dived into. So, my friend had all the Star Wars books. I had all the Halo books.
Before Fallout, Halo was my favorite game, and I'm still deep into the lore of Halo.
Yeah.
I was introduced to it by my dad on the PC, and it's all like Halo 2 comes out, and it's not on I can't get it on the computer, and it's like, well, we gotta go get an Xbox. And I was like, Mom, dig into that college fun thing. And she's like, oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, here.
And that's how I got my first Xbox and played Halo 2 for over and over again for like 5 years.
Yeah. Halo 2, the online was like, that was a magical time. That was when people were like finding ways of breaking out of the maps and stuff. So I was part of a clan that did a whole bunch of really interesting stuff, which was fun. So it was very involved.
I always hear about the magical online communities of Halo 2 and 3, but alas, when I was younger, I didn't have internet connection at my mom's or my stepdad's. Well, we had internet, but we couldn't. He didn't even let us on the computer. I think in his Nazi meth head brain that he was all like they're gonna look at porn or something. They're gonna be learning them false ideas or something. So I never got to experience the online world of the multiplayer. Well, outside of like a couple of occasions where. Right before I left Texas to come here to Michigan, I played a little bit of Halo Online, but they told me to screw off because I was a noob and I sucked.
Yeah, I remember after I had like a pretty good streak going from Halo 2 into Halo 3, and then when high school ended, and that was during the era of like Halo 3 ODST, I sort of fell off for like a year or so, and I played Fallout, and I was busy with college, and when I picked up Halo again with like early Reach and Reach multiplayer, it was just not the same. I'd lost whatever little bit of get good that I had earned for myself.
Yeah, I played a lot of Reach with my friends when I was younger. I still think that Reach had the best like cosmetic system in any of the Halo games.
I agree. Yes.
Because you could earn credits for doing anything by building a forge map, by playing the campaign.
Just screwing around in the forge and shooting your friend as he's trying to build a map.
And when you get to Halo 4, you only get like 2 credits every time you level up or whatever, and it's like, this sucks. And then they threw it out for microtransactions in Halo 5, and
how sad is that? That was like when I first saw that, like just for the hell of it, I tried the Halo 5 matchmaking, and I'm like, oh, it like took all the wind out of my sails. Like Halo is dead. This is not the same Halo matchmaking that back in my day.
Wreck murder. It's really sad what Halo's come to. It's
gaming in general.
Look
at the new Wolfenstein game.
Oh my gosh.
You get a DLC for price of a full game, pretty much.
Oh my gosh, really? That's insane.
It's 5 hours of gameplay, and that's if you're fresh into it. And more than half of that's cutscenes.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really excited for it. I was all like, I don't want to pre-order this, but you really want it, so okay.
That was Bethesda's last chance in my book.
Yeah.
I'm not pre-ordering another one of their games.
Yeah, I learned the lesson on pre-orders myself. It's he can't do it.
Yeah, that definitely. I think gaming in general peaked around 2012, 2010.
Yeah.
And started going way down after 2015.
I feel like that with the internet too. Like YouTube used to work, it seemed a whole lot better back then. Like it was, I mean, maybe there wasn't as much stuff on there, but it was like, it was YouTube. It wasn't, corporate presents YouTube, where now everything is owned by one of these giant, maker studios or full screen productions. And I'm like, I just want to make YouTube videos and not be under the, oppressive eye of the copyright bot, which is really ironic, by the way, because YouTube's entire, groundswell in the early days was when it had a whole bunch of illegal videos of, what's her name? The Jackson chick, her breasts when she had the wardrobe malfunction at the Super Bowl. Everyone was putting those on YouTube, and YouTube was like the live leak back then, where they just left them up, and it got super huge.
Yeah, everything seems to be on a downward trend nowadays. Like even the horse fandom is more or less plateauing and going down.
Yeah, it's I'm surprised Ponies lasted as long as it has, to be honest. This is such a unique thing, at least in the West. I know there's kind of similar things like this in Japan and Korea, where it's a bunch of college guys that are getting into one of their girl shows, but it's just so weird and different. You think about all the creative culture that came out of it, and it's more than just a million people drawing pencil Sonic cartoons or whatever, or Sonichu. It is real quality fan artwork and stories came out of it. So
the stories, the art, the music, the animations,
yeah.
It was all wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was just talking about the Discord earlier. I just bought some merchandise from Captain Horse, the dude who wrote the Firestarter Spitfire Tumblr blog.
Oh yeah.
And I bought a couple of things from him because he's still going strong, and the Firestarter Spitfire blog was a really good story that I read about a year ago, and it's still a little bit ongoing, and it really taught me some valuable lessons about letting go of the past.
Yeah, that is that's one of those things, and it's it's a weird, it's a weird thing, but it's I actually feel that was I did learn a lot of lessons from being in this ridiculous horse fandom from college until now. It's I don't know. You really it's both introspective and your understanding of the world around you. It's crazy.
Yeah, it provides a good sense of community, and
I have friends for the horse fandom.
Yeah, the few friends I hang out around now I met in high school because they were secretly horse folk, and we got together, made an RP, and became really good friends.
He caught me using Dropbox to listen to my horse music one day on the bus, and that's how we became friends.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I used to do that in college sometimes where I would hum like a fandom song. So I'd be like, and I just essentially see if anyone recognized it or like turned their head or something.
Oh my god, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, how implicit is that? But it didn't work. I never found anyone.
Man, me neither. And really the only other like semi-brony person that I met in high school was this really bitchy girl who really had it out for me, and later on I figured out that she was one of those hardcore feminist types.
Oh no.
And yeah, oh man, that was my first experience with feminists.
Yeah, I don't know. It's especially in California, it's getting pretty ridiculous. Like in college, I guess I was shielded from that a little bit being in engineering school. There's just honestly so few women in the program that I didn't come across too much of that. But it's like, then online, that's where really like the zeitgeist got going in like 2013 or whatever, after that like peak internet. And now it's just like you see him everywhere. And it's like you see the early Tumblrisms. And it's like I stumbled on 4chan early because of Pony. That's how I first heard about 4chan, was because of goddamn My Little Pony. And from there I discovered like Tumblr culture and like the early like battlings, and it's crazy. Now yeah, we'll see how things go from here, but it's not exactly the wild internet that it used to be.
Yeah, it's really sad to me that that's fallen so far, but we make do with what we got.
Exactly. Oh yeah, in the chat, ML Poll when? They should have made ML Poll a permanent board. That was the most exciting weekend, I think, of that spring.
Oh,
it was
God,
so freaking fun.
Got to really see it.
Yeah, like that April Fool's weekend was a magical occasion. It was the first time I really got into the festivities of an April Fool's thing on the internet, like the Reddit the Reddit thing that they did, where the pixel thing, our place.
Oh yeah, that was really neat too.
If you ever heard
I was part of the blue corner, and I tried to help them take over the world. But speaking of ML Poll, a bunch of those people got together and made their own like offshore site that kind of preserves a little bit of what they had going.
Oh really? Interesting. I might have to track that down.
But it's more it's less active than it was, and it's not exactly the same as it was on that day. But God, ML Poll was pretty damn amazing.
Yeah, I'm actually looking through my my meme folder right now in the ML Poll section. It's yeah, this is the best one. Yeah, no, I think my except for the weekend itself, the BabsCon right after the fact, that was a great experience, because then it was all the normal / MLP guys and everyone just having the after hours the after hours chat rooms and stuff. That was a good time. BabsCon.
Yeah, wasn't that where a lot of the NSFW artists got together and in like a hotel room and got drunk and had something of a party?
I don't know about the hotel room thing, but I went to like one of the panels, and that was just a crazy shit posting time.
Like I remember some kind of shit post about an I Love Kim Possible a lot body pillow,
yes.
some Pakistani flags.
It's just so ridiculous.
Oh man. 2016, a lot of people shit on that year, but that was a blast.
That was a blast. That was a lot of fun times. Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the internet in general now. Like every day is a new whirlwind, and every day is a new battle, and so it's like, you just I don't know. I really never know what to expect. Like I made a Twitter account because, well, I had the Skybolt Twitter account, but I really didn't use it much. But then it's like I had to make like a more like formal like daily use Twitter account because the leader of the free world, that's like how information like flows now. So I'm like, I need to know what's going on.
You there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. The leader of the free world delivers his proclamations from Twitter.
Oh my god. The current year is amazing.
Freaking I really love what comes out of Trump's Twitter. It's
oh my gosh. Hilarious. It's like every day, no matter what it is, it's either going to be exciting or it's going to be a new like controversy or it's just some totally random shit. It's just always entertaining.
Oh man.
Maybe I'm just an accelerationist, but that's good times.
Yeah. But even if there's a lot of controversy, a lot of different weird stuff that happens, it's all still fun at the end of the day, and we all make good memories talking about it with our friends.
Exactly. That's the important thing, is everyone's having fun for the most part.
except for the people with no fun allowed signs.
Yeah, the people who are having fun are the people who engage in the conversation. The ones aren't having the fun are the ones that want to shut down the conversation, which is just all kinds of ironic, because it's like when you drive out the people, they like galvanize. That's literally what happened to Pony, is they were so sick of seeing the horses on 4chan, they banned the MLP board and all this other stuff, and so they created a whole bunch of alternate websites, and one of those became freaking Equestria Daily, and now it's like this gigantic hub of all this, like, you know, these adult horse people things on the internet. And the same thing's gonna happen if they push it out. You can't just wipe people away from the internet.
Yeah, it'll come back to bite you.
Yeah. And then they'll probably through some kind of like storming too, where it's like the like with Tumblr, or you know, whoever started that Tumblr 4chan Independence Day war, where like one of them shit on the other and then the other came back after them and just polluted the board. It's pretty crazy.
I really love a lot of things that come out of 4chan. Back during the early days, I was all like, I am very wary of this place, this cesspool known as 4chan.
I still am.
And then now it's all like, oh man, these people are freaking hilarious. I love these guys.
Yeah, it is. You know what was a really interesting moment for me was the first season of He Will Not Divide Us, when it was the original camera in the parking lot of the New York, the Museum of the Moving Image or whatever. Like a whole bunch of, like, you know, those type of people, 4chan types, came out, and it's like, you know, of course the media would have you think like it was a bunch of like literal like skinheads, like, you know, the B-list cast of frickin' American History X was out there, but no, it was like a whole bunch of different people and different like walks of life and stuff, and they were all just there because they wanted to, you know, make Shia LaBeouf angry. And it's like that kind of like weird cohesion was just so magical.
Yeah, last I checked, the flag is currently on top of like some building with a dome, and they were trying to get a drone up there to tear it down or something, but the poll board started shutting down all the boards about it, or the threads about it. Yeah,
and during the Gamergate thing, that's how 8chan was created, was they tried to drive away any discussion about Gamergate, and so an entire new website was able to take a foothold run by frickin' Hot Wheels. Yeah, and it's funny now. Now I wonder what'll happen with NeoGAF going down. I heard a lot of the NeoGAF people are trying to transfer somewhere else.
Oh, I'm actually not familiar with NeoGAF. That seems like something before my time.
Yeah, it is an old website, and I mostly only know of what I've seen from the Mr. Mediker big stream he did on it, which was enlightening because I didn't know much about NeoGAF either, except like I don't know. I thought it was a magazine or something. So,
You put on a cut.
yeah. It's a very interesting stream. If people like that kind of like Mr. Mediker kind of videos, I think you'd find it very enjoyable.
Yeah, Vermont was talking earlier about the Internet Historian, and yeah, I watched a couple of those videos a little bit ago, and subscribed because that's a really good channel about the weird stuff that happens on the internet.
Oh, that guy's fantastic. Like, I watched his video about the rainforest in Seattle, because when we were at BabsCon, we started hearing the rumors like, hey guys, they're completely shutting down frickin' Everfree Northwest at the convention center. We're like, what do you mean? See, what? They're shutting it down? And they're like, yeah, no, it's because of this furry convention that totally messed things up. And I'm like, no, what did the furries do? And like we heard the rumors and the rumblings, and then yeah, that Internet Historian video that really just explained it all.
It's like, oh dear God, those degenerates.
Yeah, that was quite the wow. I mean, the diapers and the drugs and the glory holes. It's like, can you guys not contain that just to an off-site location that isn't going to jeopardize it for the rest of us?
Oh man, yeah, it was I had heard a little bit of rumors about it, and then I watched that video and I'm like, man, probably an underrated video is the whole Balloon Boy thing.
Yeah, he actually did like some really deep research about that. Like, I didn't know any of that. I remember when that story first hit the news, and that was pretty much all I heard, and yeah. Damn.
There are a lot of good stories that we just keep forgetting because there's so much new content that just keeps rolling, new weird shit happening, and
that's true. I think that's the trickiest part of the internet is there's so much internet culture now, and so many people have a significant presence that it's like it's hard to follow it all.
Yeah, because I really like the video on the whole pool closed whole thing that 4chan did.
Yeah,
I had
closed.
no idea anything about that before listening to that video.
Yeah, I heard about the pools closed meme from a different video like a year ago, but it's like, yeah, that his series was so much better. Oh my gosh. Pools closed due to AIDS. I'm like, the fact that someone actually pulled that in real life, it's like, you gotta be kidding me. This is insane.
More political nowadays, I guess, would be the It's Okay to Be White campaign.
Oh my gosh. Oh, could you imagine the pools closed thing today? That would be so. That would be international story. Like, you know, it just go crazy.
The triggering would be real.
Oh my gosh.
It'd be all over every media source, not just CNN.
You know, I think what's sad is that, like, in the 90s, remember the 90s? Like, the late 90s, all of TV was, like, kind of almost inherently edgy. Like, no one really cared too much about, like, anything. And we're like, and partially the right is to blame for that, too, is that all the damn religious right of, like, the 2000s. And, like, I remember growing up with Pokemon, and they're like, oh, you know, Pokemon's the devil and evolution and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, this is stupid. But then it's like, now we've got this whole era of, like, censorship. And it's like, this is literally the opposite of what the internet should be. It should be about open communication for everyone. And it's like, it flattened things out for a while, but now everyone's trying to, like, I don't know, just shut it down.
Yeah, it's like the internet. The Tay AI is probably like a microcosm of how the internet is.
The Tay.ai thing was just funny. I mean, it's like they clearly didn't design the learning protocols, right? And so all it took were a few people to keep feeding it a certain flavor of red pill until she became a literal Nazi. It's like, I mean, come on, Microsoft, get good. It's like you could do better than this. And of course, their only answer was, oh, we'll just lobotomize her, and then no one cares because now it's not a real learning AI anymore. Oh man.
One of my favorite videos is of that dude reacting to one of those chat bots.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that Oh god, I don't even know how we talk about that, but yeah, no, that was just funnily timed. I'm not sure if he planned it that way or if that's really just what it answered him, but that's oh my gosh.
Oh, that was really good.
Yeah, no, I remember that with some of those other chatbots too. I mean, really, you know, if you prod them the right way, they'll say all sorts of crazy stuff. So it's just it's not AI, you guys. It's like literally like just a big digital set of cogs, and all people are doing is spinning certain cogs at the right speed to make a funny noise. And it's like people freak out so much, like they just created like, you know, the Skynet Hitler, you know, I have no mouth but I must scream AI. And it's like, no, it's much more simple than that.
Man, AI in today's world is it's all like everyone's all like, don't do it, and then Mark Zuckerberg's all like, I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Don't make me press this button. I will.
Stephen Hawking and Elon Musk, don't do it.
Yeah, Zuckerberg, he is like, well, he's not human to begin with, right? He's obviously some kind of like amphibious creature that like wears a skin suit. And yeah.
He's
a lizard person.
Yeah. He's
What it is?
definitely not
human. He's a Terminator sent from the future to ensure that Skynet gets made.
Oh, that's a good theory. I like that. So he's the Doctor Who character from that last Terminator movie that sucked.
That movie. Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen it because I heard it was so freaking ridiculous.
It is really, really bad. It's like, I remember that trailer where they had James Cameron say, like, oh, this is a great movie. And I'm like, looking back, I'm like, James Cameron, you whore. Like, they obviously, like, dropped $100,000 on his lap in a briefcase and were like, hey, say nice things about this for 5 minutes on camera. Not like he needs money anyway. He's a multi-billionaire from just 2 movies.
They probably offered him some bacon or something that he really wanted at that moment, but could have lived without.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, you know, I feel betrayed by him after that. I'm like, you made me watch a movie that I probably wouldn't have seen otherwise, or at least not in the first weekend. That's one thing I do. Like, if I want to see a movie but also don't want it to like get like my money for promotion, just don't see it the first weekend or two, because that's really like all the numbers that go into like Hollywood decision making. So let's say it's like you really want to see Justice League, but you also hate Warner Brothers. Wait like another week or two after it's like, you know, starting to fall off in theaters, and see like a night showing. And
yeah,
then,
I definitely made it a point for us to go see the Pony movie opening weekend, or opening day, if not the opening weekend. We went on the Saturday, not the Friday.
Yes, exactly. That's the best way of doing it. Oh, we have a super chat money tip jar or whatever this is from the Humble Turnip. Thank you, thank you, Pickle Turnip. Yeah. Spaghetti. I just noticed I haven't been paying attention to the chat. What are you guys talking about? Have you been reacting to all this? Yeah, the fandom is silly. Someone say Hot Wheels. You have my attention now. Yeah, freaking Hot Wheels. He's quite the guy. I think he's in the Philippines right now, which I wonder how that goes, because the Philippines is like essentially in a civil war right now, which is kind of crazy.
Almost everywhere is like in some kind of weird something. Like Venezuela's.
Oh my gosh.
Venezuela, man. And communism is just a hard drug, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I err on the Pinochet side of the coin as far as communism goes, because like my family, we had to leave like Eastern Europe because of that shit. It's like we had all this land, we had a potato farm, and all this East Slavic goodness, and then fucking Russians came, the Red Army, and we lost it all. It's like, Hitler, he rolled the damn panzers by our house, but he didn't bother us. But the Russians, they take everything, and they eat everything, so to speak. It's like a black hole of civilization that you just dump everything into and get almost nothing in return.
It's like that scene in that one episode of Rick and Morty where he just the wishing portal.
I'm trying to remember. Is that the magical land where like what's her name, like leaves her friend in for all those years?
Oh, from the
Morty episode where it was a bunch of Mortys.
From Tales from the Citadel where the Mortys went to go find the wishing portal.
Oh yeah.
Dump.
yeah, it's just a giant freaking intergalactic landfill. Yeah, that's funny stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. Yeah, so we'll see how things go. I really hope civilization doesn't crash in my lifetime, but it could happen.
It could happen.
That's what's great about being American is you can buy guns and you can, hide ammo and pistols all over different secret burial spots.
I have pistols stashed all over town in case of pistol emergencies.
Yeah, it's just good to have. The key too is getting NATO standard ammo, because then if you have to flee to frickin' Canada or some other godless hellhole, then you have there's a chance that you'll find ammo that fits that caliber.
All right, 5.56 NATO.
Yeah,
I think mine takes that.
Yeah, 5.56. I think the old 2.23 rounds might fit it. I'm not sure if it's a perfect fit.
2.23 works in mine alongside normal 5.56.
Yeah, because essentially it's just the metric versus customary measurement difference. And I know, I just want to put this out there because, of course, the America units meme. I learned both in school, it's not like our, engineers and scientists don't know how to use the metric system. Yes, that's very common. It's just the problem of getting 300 plus million people to convert in every facet of their daily lives that's trickier. So it's but all the scientists and stuff, we still have a bunch of Nobel Prizes every year for the last, 70 years? I mean, even most European countries didn't adopt it till, the 20s, I think. So, anyway, it's just the metric system is a meme, okay?
The metric system is a meme that's failed to gain as much traction in the U.S. as it did everywhere else.
Yeah.
Name something that isn't a meme anymore.
Pretty much everything in life is devolving into memes, which is both scary and wonderful. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's these base units of it's packets of information wrapped in humor or context, but it's it's weirdly potent. I mean, literally, the CIA had a whole department studying the effects of meme thought transmission on social networks and studying the effects and trends.
Jeez.
That was real. The Department of Meme Warfare came out in
I think that was the Vault 7 thing, right?
Yeah, the Vault 7 leaks.
Yeah, where they can also completely take over your car and freaking run you off a bridge. That's another reason I don't trust freaking Elon Musk or those people. It's like, nah, I don't need no robot car to run me off the bridge. Like, I've had enough problems with the onboard computer in normal cars. My first, I had a Toyota Corolla when I was in high school, and just the normal, whatever processing computer had a critical error to it, and so it slammed on the brakes right out as I was driving at like 40 miles an hour. I thought I busted an axle and came to a halt on the road, and that was just a factory defect, some bad like circuit board or something.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a stick shift any day.
Yeah, it's like you have to go back to a freaking 70s car that with some kind of converted unleaded fuel engine if you want to be safe from all that crap.
Well, we live in an integrated, interesting world.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm afraid because then when they get all the like when everyone has some kind of robot car or whatever, then they're going to ban driving. I mean, any kind of private manual driving, then all cars will operate off of, some slob at a government computer directing everything in, like, one direction or another. It's like, yeah, I mean, traffic might look less like traffic because all the cars will be moving in synchronicity, but at what cost? I like being able to grab onto my wheel and gas it around a guy who's going way too slow than he should be, and just having that freedom, just go wherever.
The ultimate argument is safety and order versus freedom and chaos.
Yeah, like especially California. I go on road trips all the time, and for people in Europe, like driving California is like driving from like Hamburg to Portugal. It's a large, long chunk of like space. And it's so beautiful, like the car culture in California, which goddamn Moonbeam Brown keeps trying to shut down more and more every day. Freaking gas tax and all this other bullshit. But it's like, I don't want to just give that up for some, hegemony. It's like, again, this is the whole argument of safety versus freedom. And I think what makes America so unique is that it tends, or at least for now, it tends towards freedom versus safety versus the opposite in a lot of like Europe and other places in the world. So
right.
I don't know.
And then that's pretty much where I stand on things as well. It's like we're gonna have freedom, but the freedom comes with its own set of things.
Yeah, it's like there's always going to be a cost. And it's like, what's the difference in like, I don't know. Maybe it's just sort of like a philosophical thing too. It's like if I were given the choice, I would shave 5 years off the end of my life if it meant I could eat meat or whatever like foods that I want to eat without some kind of crazy other, limitations, or do you want to be able to have the freedom to have a weapon if there's a chance that you'll like get killed or whatever? It's like, yes I do, because if you don't own a gun, you are not a free man. You are a slave to the government, to the state. I fall very much in line with the crazy freaking libertarians in that sense, which is like, it's very essential freedom. It's like in the old days not being allowed to own a spear or something. I don't know. It's like, could you imagine a feudal lord being like, "Oi, peasant, what are you doing with a sharp object?" It's like, yeah, "Oi, mate, you have a license for that knife?" It's like, no, it's just a knife. You're for like cutting meat or protecting our family and homestead. It's like, then they haul you off, and then they sell you a TV license.
Oh, those poor folks.
Bing bong. Yeah, so obviously we've gone a little bit off the rails here. Something akin to Mad Max. Yes, if given the choice between like Equilibrium, like pure totalitarianism, or Mad Max, I would choose Mad Max. Absolutely. I'm trying to remember. I think the history of Mad Max, it's not necessarily that the fuel runs out, it's that water runs out. Or I think it's both. It's like there's a fuel shortage and a freshwater shortage in the original like Road Warrior.
Well, I think in the original Mad Max, because it was Mad Max, then Road Warrior,
And then Thunderdome.
then Thunderdome.
Yeah, they all really are like their own sort of movie. It's almost like I heard someone compare them to fairy tales, and it's like, yeah, Mad Max is almost like this fairy tale kind of character.
Yeah,
A wasteland legend.
The Wasteland Legend.
The Road Warrior.
Yeah, because the first movie, it's like before the nuclear war, ish.
Yeah, the first one was like when things are starting to get bad, because I think he was part of that like federal Australian police unit or whatever that was like, it was like an emergency situation. It's like they were moving into martial law, so they had cops like him rising up to combat the roving gangs because society was starting to fall apart, but it wasn't like apocalyptic yet.
Right. That came in the Road Warrior.
Yeah.
That's where we get like a lot of our Fallout iconography from, is from the Road Warrior.
Oh, yes, by far. And of course, I mean, I think all of us are like deep just apocalypse fans in general. No, I grew up with the old Mad Maxes, and I loved frickin' Fury Road and all the good apocalypse stories over the years. Book of Eli, Book of Eli was a very aesthetically well-executed movie. Whether or not,
Yes.
people like the story, whether they're religious or whatnot, the look and the way everything, like, fell out, that was really cool.
Yeah, in some ways it reminded it reminds me a lot of like a lot of the New Vegas fan films, like Nuka Break and Linnaeus.
Yeah, that's the Wayward Studios or whatever. If those
Oh,
guys had like
Wayside?
Wayside, that's it. If those guys had like even a Netflix tier budget, they could do incredible things. Because whoever like leads their what would it be, production design, who like makes the guns and the costumes, that guy's incredible, or gal is incredible. Their stuff looks so good, and that's really what I think sets them apart from a lot of other like just fan films out there.
Right. Another good post-apocalyptic movie that I was just thinking about was The Road.
Yeah,
Have you seen The Road?
That's very serious. That's like if you really want like the bitter sweetness of the wasteland.
Yeah.
Well, the Wasteland's not without its hardships.
I remember taking my SO on a date to see that film, and they were all like, what the fuck movie did you bring me to see?
And then you made out. Yeah, it's not exactly a kissy date movie.
No, but we're both really into post-apocalyptic stuff.
That's good
So
stuff.
it's good.
It's that's a keeper. Let's see here. Chat. Yeah, we obviously touched a little bit too much into the politics, but yeah. That's okay. That it was bound to happen when ML Poll was brought up. that was the transition. That was the bridge. Because honestly, if you don't own a personal, recreational, tactical nuke, you're just not a free person. Oh man. No, I actually heard. I read one thread that was a really interesting, like, this is very specifically American now, real American hours, about like what's the limit of the Second Amendment, and my view has always been the intent of it was every citizen a soldier, because it was to keep the government from being tyrannical. So every citizen a soldier means everyone should have the level of armament of a standard infantry, army, or marine. So, whatever your random, your random private or lance corporal has, that's what the average person should have as a limiter. And so then the next tier, you know, when you get into like tanks and rocket launchers and stuff, now that's where the National Guard can come into play, where every state has their national military authority. And then, you know, then you've got a chance, you know, if we ever got into a whole civil war again. Then each state has their own military that's kind of separate from the feds.
Right. And have maybe one or two recreational nuclear warheads on the side.
Yeah, exactly. Like, each state has, like, you know, a good 100 or so. That's fair.
You know, in case something were to happen, what if the capital were to be gone tomorrow?
You know, I think each state does have, or we have like 5,000 active nukes in the arsenal, so that actually would split perfectly. Every state gets 100.
It would, but...
A couple of them are at an advantage, though, because, like, if you look at a state like Wyoming, where they've got, damn it, what is that Air Force base in Wyoming? There's like 3 in the center cluster that have all the silos. So it's like the one in Wyoming, and then there's like Minot up in North Dakota. They have an unfair advantage because they each probably have like 300 in the missile silos just in their land. So
Then states with natural advantages, I mean, look at Michigan. It's surrounded by fresh water.
yes, so all the water like canal states, they can each have a boomer submarine. They can each have one of the Ohio class. Now we're really getting into war games. No, that would be actually very, very horrifying if the U.S. got in, or Russia. I mean, if we want to look at the other side of the channel, got into a civil war, a very heavily nuclear state. That could be like that could be dominoes. I mean, that's literally the plot of post-apocalyptic stories. The plot of On the Beach, the film where like Australia is just waiting for death of the Cobalt 60 cloud, where the whole war started in frickin' Algeria, which was still under French dominion at that point in time when he wrote it, where like Algeria had a small handful of nukes, and someone got extra mad one day, and just like kicked it off, and then the whole avalanche just poured down from there.
I'd like to think that that if North Korea were to launch something, that I think we'd all, as nations, would have a sense to not let the weapons fly.
Yeah, see, my hope, and at least what I've seen in the last year from the various branches, is we have decent interceptor systems rolling out more and more. So, obviously, well, I mean, they just authorized another frickin' several billion in interceptors or something crazy, which is, I honestly feel like maybe one of the only areas of the military that really does need expansion, because, yeah, it's pretty crazy right now, and especially if they do build a submarine, which is what they're trying to do, then we're all kinds of fucked. Because then it's just like Fallout, where you got a submarine just off the coast, pops up out of nowhere, and it could level the entire, or not level, but it could reach the entire country from its deployed missiles.
Well, then again, though, this is North Korea. If they sneeze the wrong way while they're launching a missile, they'll blow themselves up again.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, there's all these rumors that they've, accidentally self-detonated on the launch pad of actual nukes and stuff, besides just the test rockets. And then you have to look at China. Even China can't get the submarines working perfectly right. They are having problems, and they could never get their carriers to work either.
You actually personally worked on a carrier, didn't you?
I did. I got to see the heart of the beast. I worked on auxiliary nuclear systems.
Ooh.
Which sounds really badass, which is why I try to market it that way. But it was mostly just like, piping that leads to the stuff around the reactor. It's like the cooling, like, the various chillers and the other mechanical, like, release valves, like, outside of the reactor core space. So it's like we were layer 2. We were the outer core.
Well, all really important stuff, because you don't want it to heat up too much.
Yeah, no, that's kind of a big deal. That was also part of the part of our job was containment devices, making sure all the valves closed and all the all the air seals were 100% tight. Because essentially, if you have a reactor leak, you just basically got to get like freaking evacuate, and then they just leave the ship there and then figure out what to do next later. Yeah.
So as someone who's worked on a carrier, how do you feel about the Enterprise being decommissioned the way that it was?
Oh, I disagreed with that. Okay, so the Enterprise, yes, it was experimental because it was for those in our audience who probably don't know, it was the first nuclear aircraft carrier, and it was very experimental at the time. It didn't have the two standard reactors like the modern ones have. It had eight submarine reactors, because the first nuclear ship was the Nautilus, the submarine USS Nautilus. And so all of the technology and all of the sizing, it was very submarine-oriented. So then when they when they shove out this 1,000-foot long, 330-something meter long giant aircraft carrier, they had no idea. Well, they wanted to oversize it just because they weren't sure what kind of operations they needed for. So that thing had 8 submarine reactors, and they very quickly found out that, oh shit, this is a lot. We can't run all these at the same time. If we run all these at the same time, the ship is going to melt into, an elephant's foot. So, so there were definitely trials and error over its lifespan, and there were probably a lot of systems that were, not worth maintaining, like they were partially contaminated or just, too much effort and money to maintain and upkeep. But it is kind of sad, because A, it was this, very historical ship, and B, I feel like all of these decommissioned nuclear submarines, they should be turned into auxiliary power plants. I mean, how much raw power nuclear energy is? It's like, that solves the oil crisis. It solved the oil crisis 70 years ago. And it's like, I mean, what if you sailed up one of those, California, which has regular brownouts at different times in history? You park that thing in Long Beach Shipyard, plug it in to the shoreline, and that could power the entire city of Long Beach. It's insane, the kind of power this stuff kicks out, and we're still buying damn oil from the Saudis and all this crap. And it's like, I mean, how many wars have been over oil? If you go back to frickin' the Iran, and I'm not talking about the 79 Iranian Revolution, I'm talking about the 1953 CIA and MI6 sponsored coup of the rightfully elected, democratically elected leader, I forget the dude's name, but he was a symbol of change. He was very modern and Western. He didn't wear what the Shah wore. And they removed him simply because he nationalized the British petroleum industry, and, oh no, they're going to take the oil from us. It's like such bullshit. And we had nuclear reactors then. The first fast breeder reactor, or not fast breeder, but the first reactor was Chicago Pile 1 by Enrico Fermi, who was Italian originally, but they built that in Chicago when they were doing the whole Manhattan Project and getting the bombs made in the first place. And we had this incredible technology, and the French scientists too, who just took off with it, and they nuclearized their entire grid pretty much. And it's like, but we're depending on this, and it's just like, it was just empire. It was just hegemony at the time when supposedly all the empires were falling. And it's like, how long has that haunted us? It's haunting us to this day. Now, Iran is, 2 years away from a nuclear weapon? Iran's basically in North Korea in 1994 after Bill Clinton had his whole, we're going to give you some nuclear technology so you can build yourselves a reactor and it'll be good power for the country and you're definitely not going to turn it into a weapon. And then they did, because of course they did, because the Chinese did that in the 60s, and the Israelis did that in the 60s, and a whole bunch of other countries, as soon as they had their hands on it. It's like, people worry about North Korea, I worry about Pakistan, or China too. I mean, China and India and Pakistan, it's like, those are very, very heated border clashes with very deep resentments and very deep historical divides that could pop at any minute for any cause or reason. I mean, China and India almost had troops firing at each other in, not Bhutan, I forget what that little country is between them. This is kind of a tangent, I know. I'm bringing it back around. Okay, in the Max Brooks book of the World War Z, when the zombies start taking over and everything starts falling to hell and everyone's, losing their minds, the first nuclear exchange is India and Pakistan. And I agree with his geopolitical insight on that, is that's a cork that could easily pop. And that's not nothing. Pakistan's got, I think 150 nukes in its arsenal, and India's got over 200. That's as much as Britain and France going to nuclear war with each other. It's insane.
Right.
Anyway, ponies. I'm sorry, I forgot where that was coming from.
Anyway, nuclear horse book.
Yeah. I like this art that I left up too. The tree hugger being washed by the anon. Not the hair man. I've got rights. You stink. Ponies that smell this bad don't have rights.
You there, Skybolt?
Hello, can you hear me?
All right, we're back.
Cut out for a
So, yeah, I have very good opinions on nuclear energy. I think that it's that until we have fusion technology, fission is probably the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, of course, when something goes wrong, it's bad, and you have to control for it. But honestly, 90% of it is fear-mongering. It's all these people who have a vested interest against nuclear energy, who spin all these scary numbers and these scary statistics at you, when it's like, a very simple comparisons could wake people up. Like, if you ever fly across the country, like DC to San Francisco, you just got a chest x-ray. That's how much Van Halen belt radiation that you receive just from being at 36,000 feet for, 2,000 miles. It's like, when you think about that, and then you compare those figures to, no-go zones, like in Chernobyl or the Fukushima, it's like, yes, it's bad, of course. All disasters are horrible, and technology gets better. All those were horrible old reactors built in the 60s. It's like brand new reactors built today, like the Georgia or Tennessee Valley Authority ones that they're building right now. It's like, I mean, how much could you power? India's got like a 10 times reactor that they're building in Mumbai right now to power like almost the whole frickin' city. It's like 10 gigawatts. And it's just like, you look back over history and you're like, how many oil wars, how much blood on all sides, how many trillions of dollars spent, I mean, is another reactor incident or two really, worse than this? Do people really think that? I mean, even 3 Mile Island, the one that supposedly, that killed the U.S. nuclear industry, what a horrible accident. It's like, what happened was it was a gas release of, yes, radioactive gas. A whole bunch of people in Pennsylvania got a single chest x-ray. If they went home for Christmas and visited their parents on the West Coast, they got another chest x-ray. And so it's like, it's unfortunate, but no one died from, even when people compare, 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl in the same breath, I just want to scream. Because
it's ridiculous.
Night and day. It's like comparing... I can't even think. It's just, I mean, the 3 Mile Island is still functional. California, they've shut down all our reactors, and no matter how much power we don't have and rolling brownouts and crap, 3 Mile Island is still operational and powering a large chunk of Pennsylvania. They just, they shut down Unit 1, which is, I think, the one that melted down, but Units 2 through 4 still going strong, like they have for 50 years, and it's like... I think the XKCD comic is a really great example, too. You hold in your hand a brick of, purified, enriched uranium-235, and that's more power than you need for, an entire city for 20 years. And to have the same amount in barrels of oil or, tons of natural gas, it's not even comparable. And then you think about places like the American Southwest or Australia. The entire Australian outback could power the entire Western world, every nuclear energy country for, I don't know, until the next, evolutionary ice age. It's insane. Until we have, a full, world colony on Titan. There's so much of it, so much power, and assuming that we do get to fusion power in the next century, it doesn't even matter. The only oil we need to use is for, petroleum-based products, and then some stuff like in cars, where a nuclear reactor-sized power source isn't feasible.
Right.
So,
I mean, unless we're gonna make the Ford Nucleon or the Corvette.
I do love that about all the. That's one thing that's so great about Fallout is all the all the 50s era scientific ideas that they translated into real things. Yes, no, there shouldn't be individual nuclear reactors in the back of your car. That is definitely not a good thing. Oh God. Maybe a truck, though. I mean, a truck could work. No. So I don't know. It's just sad, And literally, you look at California. Most of our problems are not enough water, not enough power. You could solve both of those concurrently. You build 6 new reactors in California to replace all the old ones, and you actually run them and maintain them. Then you build 6 new desalinization plants on the coastline. And that pretty much, waters of life to all of California and probably Nevada, too. And then you dump the concentrated salt slurry in the Salton Sea, which is an biological, hazard. And of course, California, the big eco-state, doesn't like to talk about that. The Salton Sea is a giant, just toxic chemical dump from years and years of farming runoff, and also a lot of raw sewage that we get from Mexico, which is just great. It's we don't even need a wall. We just need some kind of filter on the river waters from Tijuana, which keep dumping hepatitis A into San Diego. Thanks a lot, Tijuana.
Yeah. It's ridiculous how inefficient things are when we could just build nuclear energy just to get us to fusion power, and then we got clean energy for forever.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't have to be a populated city area. I mean, look at Nevada. Nevada is mostly just abandoned or, depleted silver and salt mines. You could build a giant 20 gigawatt complex in the center of frickin' Area 51, and that could power the entire western seaboard, and then you put another one where the Hartford side is in Washington to cover all the Northwest, and then a few other ones like that. I mean, they have a lot more nuclear power on the East Coast still, in Tennessee Valley and places like that. I mean, there's a lot of space in the U.S. that you could just put a reactor far away from things. They're airplane safe because they built them all that way. Even back in the 50s, that's the first thing they thought of is someone's going to ram a plane into it. So they built the walls of all the buildings so that you could ram a fighter jet head on into the building and it would be fine. If only, office buildings were so endowed. But, yeah, it would just, the amount of wars and, you think of all the problems that arise from lack of power, and it's insane.
It's ridiculous. Nuclear is really our best option. Just we have ways of dealing with the waste product. Just dump it in Yucca Mountain.
Yes, exactly. And I don't know why that's so controversial. It's Vegas has been living under the shadow of, the nuclear test site for decades. Literally all of Vegas's history has been in the shadow of the bomb. It's you're not going to get any more radiation than you've already given yourselves over the time. Yucca Mountain, they planned it all out. It's salt and silver mines. You dig deep, and with every barrel you drop down there, you pour on lots of concrete and lots of other crap, and it's sealed away for, time immemorial. Or send it to space. I'm seeing someone else too. It's do people forget how a lot of spacecrafts work? It's like obviously you can't, like, there's no efficient way of using nuclear energy to leave orbit, but you think of things like the Voyager or a lot of satellites, a lot of the deep space, like, research satellites. What do you think powers them? It's plutonium that you only get through specific nuclear processes, and they, like, for a while NASA was running out, and then, like, Oak Ridge Laboratories had to start, like making some more for future NASA missions.
Right. We're dealing with the dog right now. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. I'm just. It's like 2 a.m. So I've hit that window of just, like, obviously late night crazy, InfoWars ranting.
Yeah, it's like 5 in the morning here. Or 4 in the morning here.
Yeah, we can go whenever you guys have to go. I'm just bullshitting at this point. James and Needle, if they notice this podcast, now none of you in the chat tell them. Maybe they won't notice the entire last hour of the podcast. Yeah, thorium, I know thorium technology, that is possible. Thorium is a lot safer because that you could, like, literally, at least the way I understand it, you could put those in, like, the middle of neighborhoods because they're fail-safe, where if the reactor, quote-unquote, melts down, all that happens is the molten salt solidifies, and the thorium doesn't have a lot of, I don't think it has, like, high levels of any kind of radiation, alpha particle, beta, or gamma particle, so, a gamma ray. Yeah, so thorium's supposed to be super safe, but just, like, no money goes into it for various reasons. A, is that nuclear power in general, not a lot of money is going in, and B, advancing nuclear power, not a lot of money is going in. It's like, this is just barely, like, trying to maintain what's there. Except for very specific industries, like the naval nuclear division, which is, like, I think honestly they should run all the country reactors because they've dealt with them for the longest. I mean, goes all the way back to what was his name? The guy who was, like, the father of naval nuclear power. I forget, but, I mean, the program is just so many years of practice. I mean, they've been dealing with nuclear vessels since the Nautilus, which was, like, I think 56, so it's been, like, several generations, and it's like, just train those sailors, maintain that continuum of knowledge, and just have them as, like, the lead, chief technical officer at each one of these plants. I mean, they'll run a lot safer, and you'll have, like, a definitive, not hierarchy, but, like, organization, have them checking regularly, have divisions, and then they report back up to the CNO and all that kind of stuff. It would be perfect. But this is musings, of course. This is solving all the world's problems all at once.
Right. You'll have misinformed people who really don't really want the risk of a meltdown.
Yeah.
Got a meltdown in my neighborhood? What would I ever do? Yeah.
Well, that's a great thing. If you're American and you have a gun, you could just kill yourself. You don't have to suffer the radiation poisoning.
Or if you've got the money, you can just jump into your shelter in the backyard.
Yeah.
For the next 20 years.
Oh man, there's a horrible story about a Japanese nuclear engineer from the 90s where he got, like, a crazy lethal dose of, like, 200 sievers or something, and they kept him alive, like, as long as they could. This guy's, like, skin and arms were falling off, and they kept bringing him back and pumping him with adrenaline and stuff, almost like a study, like a unit, like 537 kind of thing, where they kept him alive, and this poor soul existed like 180 days in that state until finally he just couldn't bring the soul back anymore. But that's horrible. I always imagine, like, hell is like having to live that guy's existence after the accident. Ugh. In the chat, people are bringing up Elon Musk is like Robco, Repcon. Most of those guys are actually influenced by Howard Hughes, revolutionary.
Actually, what?
What was it? The Robco guy. Can you hear me?
All right, you're back.
Yeah, someone brought up in the chat about Musk being Robco or Repcon guy. No, that was Howard Hughes. He was industrial technology magnate of the 50s and 60s, and he went a bit crazy at the end, but that dude was smart. And so many characters are based off of him, like what's his name, Totenkopf from the Sky Captain of the World of Tomorrow series. The entire not Tony Stark, but his dad, the Howard Stark. Again, Howard Hughes. It's all the same guy.
Andrew Ryan.
Yes, Andrew Ryan is based off him.
He's like the sort of archetype venture capitalist scientist dude.
Yeah, Andrew Ryan is if like Howard Hughes and frickin' what's her name, Ayn Rand had a baby, which would be a horrible, horrible evil child. But yeah, it's very, very fittingly BioShock. BioShock's what happens when stem cell technology gets a little bit too crazy, just a little bit. And Cat Paradise. Yeah, Tesla. There's so much mystery surrounding Tesla and like what technologies are still hidden, because like the government did take like they emptied his lab as soon as he kicked the bucket. All of it's probably been integrated into our years of technology over the last 70, 100 years. But yeah, that dude he's something else.
Like we haven't been studying the Allspark. We've been studying just whatever's been left over from Tesla.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, just his understanding of like electricity and like wireless communication was like decades ahead of his time. Like technologies that wouldn't come out for possibly because of him for years. We'll see.
I've heard a few things of how of his wireless energy transmission stuff. I don't think that's entirely feasible, but it was more or less the basic idea behind radio communication technology.
Yeah, and like radar. I think that's what like that Wardenclyffe Tower stuff was really leading towards. He just didn't have a full understanding of like the amount of raw power he could transmit through the air, because outside of things like a Tesla coil where you get arcs of solid connected energy transfer, it's you can't just send it in radio waves that don't like ionize the air and turn into a lightning bolt.
Right. Or produce radiation or something like gamma rays.
That's true too. Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff is turning into experiments like that HARP relay they've got up in Alaska that everyone thinks is like an earthquake gun.
Yeah, you hear weird things around hearing weird things where it's all like, oh, it's that. You hear weird things in the air, and it must be that science experiment they have up in Alaska.
Yeah, it's a lot of mystery up there too. It's outside my clearance. But Tesla, it was actually very sad. It was just like Poe, where he died like kind of a poor and broken man, and also a virgin, from what I've heard, which is very very sad. But no, I mean, Edison, of course, he had the crazy, bloodthirsty business like sensibilities. I mean, he was a great inventor too, but he was also like very over the top. But Tesla, I mean, he without alternate, circuit power, AC current, you don't have like cross-country transmission lines. You can't do that with DC power. All the energy runs out instantly. Without like Tesla and AC power, these giant lines that just stretch through the desert that pretty much keep all of California and the West alive is because of Tesla, not Edison.
Yeah, because, oh man, I recently watched a little bit of a video about Tesla and Edison and all that, and how Tesla was pushing for this crazy AC current, and then Edison was all like, are you crazy? That'll electrocute people, and puts out all these propaganda pieces of trying to like kill an elephant with by electrocution.
Yeah, and like electrocuting dogs and stuff. It was very, very sick tactics.
Oh, fighting dirty.
Yeah, someone mentions we're all in the Matrix. It's not maybe not the Matrix, but this like simulation theory that's very interesting. I remember I watched one of the Sam Hyde Wars #4 where he's talking about simulation theory with Charles, and that was all kinds of crazy. It's like we're either living in a simulation or like we're the universe that creates the first simulation and we just haven't reached that point of technology yet, or there's like a third option where you're definitely living in a simulation that's like already shut down or something. It was very like trippy.
Gosh, yeah, like it's like most sort of things. There's no real empirical way to prove it, but there's no empirical way to disprove it.
Yeah, that's really where like the science gets fuzzy, and also when the calculations just get too ridiculous. I mean, that's why things like weather and particle physics are so contentious. It's like you have to do millions and billions of calculations for every particle to track changes, and even then, it's like as soon as you stop tracking them, the variables just add up. That's chaos theory. I mean, you think of all these like big supercomputers, and that's mostly what they're doing is just cranking out like particle dynamic equations, because every single movement is based on this giant set of calculus formulas that, you know, might have started with Isaac Newton, but just got way more complex over time.
Looks like Vermont might join in a few minutes if we're still going.
Oh my god. I should probably turn off soon because I have to get some sleep before Thanksgiving lunch, because we're having a lunch this year. But yeah, no, we're definitely in a simulation. This particular user really likes ponies, and so he like introduced that. Think of each of us as like a Sims house. Our planet is one Sims house, and we're just waiting for them to bring in the Grim Reaper character.
Maybe the Grim Reaper character's already there, but there's just too many of us.
That's true. He's like has to work his way. And the Grim Reaper character is just like some program that like cleans assets. It's just the delete function slowly working its way through all the files.
But the files just keep growing exponentially. My God, that'd be a virus for sure.
That's what I always found so interesting about that Stephen King. Well, I'm the book, but I never read the book. But the movie, The Langoliers, where it's like these people go through a portal in their plane, and they like end up behind time. So it's like they land in the world, but the world is empty of people and anything living, and it's because they already moved on, and this was like the used moment. And so then the Langoliers are these little like frickin' meatball with teeth looking creatures that just eat the old time. It's like just this whole. Obviously, it was very cheesy and, you know, classical Stephen King kind of way, but the idea behind it is really neat, and it's that kind of crazy, like, pseudo-mythical science fiction that he just does so well.
Man, I've never heard of that before, and that sounds like a really interesting story.
Yeah, it's like the movie is really corny, but, like, if you read the Wikipedia, the ideas behind it are neat. It's interesting.
Like, we're all moving in time, manipulating things, and it's just like every second the world's copied, and it just slowly deletes itself in the past.
Yeah, it's like there's a whole, like, species of creature that it's like it's come to exist just to eat the time that's been used. So like the era that is no longer like, if you think of like the linear time as a continuum, it's everything that's less than t.
Oh, that's really trippy.
Isn't that freaky? Yeah, I so even as a kid, I picked up on some of that, and that's why I liked the movie, even though it was so ridiculous. And actually, I mean, some of my favorite stories are Stephen King stuff, like Frank Darabont's The Mist. He took that was just a short story, but he took that to new heights in ways that, like, I haven't even watched the new like Mist series because I know it's not as good. It's just not as good. I mean, the way that ended was just so horrifyingly perfect. You can't top a movie ending above that in a lot of ways.
I haven't actually read a lot of Stephen King because it's sort of really bigger stuff, and I just sort of know of Stephen King stuff because like I can tell that like stuff in Stranger Things is more or less Stephen King, H.P. Lovecraft inspired. I know of these things, but I haven't experienced these things for myself quite yet.
Yeah, I haven't read most of the source material either, but it's like certain developed properties of the stories are very interesting, and then I just end up reading like, synopses of them. Because yeah, it's like that's the thing too, it's like I really don't care to like parse through the, the characters. It's like, oh, here's the another drunk dad, and here's the another abusive whatever. And it's like, I just want to know the story. And then, unless you get, like, a very concise, like, format, like, what was it? Now that we just passed the anniversary, the Kennedy series, 11/22/63, where the guy, finds just a random portal that goes back in time a few months before Kennedy was assassinated. And so the whole story is about him living out a few months and trying to prevent the assassination, and then how that changes the world if he does.
Isn't that like the plot of Red vs. Blue season 3?
Yes, actually, more or less. But who knows? Maybe Bernie read that story growing up too. I think he wrote that in the 80s or something.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that really are the most creative people, are the people who create the devices and ideas that are used and reused in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the platform sometimes is as important as the everything else. It's like, obviously literature and writing is so important, but like you couldn't get anywhere with that if it weren't for the Gutenberg press and being able to mass produce literature, which to get it to, common folk and peasants, you don't have to just sit in, a chapel once a week and hear something in Latin that you don't even understand. It's like this guy created a machine that will print, the holy word of God for you in your language so that you can read and understand it for yourself. I mean, those kind of things are so revolutionary that, it like split a schism in the church. Or in the modern day, it's like the guy who developed packeting technology for information. It's like, he might not have written a novel or a book or anything beyond like a tech manual, but if it weren't for him inventing that packet code transmission system, then all of the internet and like, freaking horse fan fiction and stuff wouldn't have come to pass. It's all these, all these weird building blocks.
What would the world be if we never had megabytes or any of that? If no one just, the internet just didn't exist, what would the world be?
Dark times.
It'd be Fallout.
I would hope it would be Fallout, yeah. A nuclear exchange is the only way to remedy a world without the internet.
Oh, damn, looks like the live stream dropped. Wait, no, it's weird.
That might be a good signal to end it anyway. We're at 3 hours and 15 minutes. Holy cow.
But oh no, we gotta talk about more stuff. Don't sleep, it's a holiday.
Yeah, I really should sleep too.
Yeah.
I gotta meet family in 8 hours, 10 hours, something like that.
Goodness, I don't know when we're having our Thanksgiving crap.
I think they're starting to cook at 11 in 6 hours.
11 Central Time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, our family's eating early because of my brother, so it's like a lunch more so than a dinner.
Yep. I've got my 3 clocks on my computer. I'm on vacation right now in Indiana with my mom, and they're on Central Time, so I have the Central, my standard Eastern Time and Pacific Time. So I know sort of, since at least you and Needle are on Pacific Time.
Yeah.
So I know how it is going for you guys.
Sweet. Well, Thank you for a fantastic random podcast and everything. I hope everyone enjoyed that. I had a good time. That used up all my boredom.
Yeah, I had a great time too. I was hoping to be on a podcast while I was down here in Indiana because I don't have the greatest internet back home.
Yeah, no, I know how it can be. Internet's still a flighty thing. They need to build out that infrastructure way more.
Yeah, get fiber lines running across the whole darn country.
Yeah, they need to treat fiber like they did the phone lines in like the 60s. I don't know why we haven't passed a bill like that yet. So, I'd vote for it. Anyway, so thank you everyone of the internet for joining us for this random podcast. Happy Yanksgiving to all the Americans out there. We hope your bellies are filled with turkey and cranberry sauce. And to everyone else, it's Thursday. It's also almost the weekend. All right, we will talk to you guys later.